Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. One Piece, The Straw Hat Pirate's Max Level Swordsman. Chapter 61, The Grand Route. Hey, Ling Tian, stop trying to be cool. Zoro saw Ling Tian standing at the bow of the Mary and spoke. He thought Ling Tian wanted to show off because he was about to enter the Grand Line. What are you talking about, Zoro? How could I be showing off? Ling Tian was speechless when he heard what Zoro said. How could he try to be cool at such an important moment? Be careful. While Ling Tian and Soran were talking, the Mary had already started riding the rising current. The huge vibration of the Mary forced Luffy and the others to hold on to the Mary tightly. Ling Tian used chakra to stand on the bow of the Mary. Spiritual Art Assistance Spiritual Wind. Ling Tian, standing in front of the Mary, used spiritual power to keep the Mary in the middle of the rising current. Nami saw Ling Tian's actions and then looked at the Mary and felt relieved. When she entered the upwelling current, she was worried that the Mary would be washed away by the upwelling current and hit the Red Earth continent. Look, that! Sanji looked at the rising current and suddenly found that there was also a ship in another rising current that was about to enter the Grand Line. Ah, we're about to collide. Usopp was surprised when he saw the ship on the other side. There's nothing we can do. If we continue like this, we're going to crash into each other. The only thing we can do is destroy the other ship, right? Zoro and Sanji spoke one by one. As he said this, he stood up and planned to destroy the ship opposite. Luffy also came to Zoro and the others, and his thoughts were the same as theirs. I just said I wasn't being cool. Ling Tian looked at the actions of Zoro and the others and spoke. How could I possibly show off? I am the legendary pirate. Lotus Flower Black Rope Cutting. 3 Swords Style, 180 Troubled Phoenix. Rubber Pistol. Ling Tian, Zoro, and Luffy attacked the opposite ship together. Sanji didn't take any action, but just looked at them. After all, Sanji currently has no means of long-range attack. Boom! As the three of them took action, the ship was immediately destroyed. Hold on, we are now entering the Grand Line. After destroying the opposite ship, the Mary also arrived at the top of the upside-down mountain. When the Mary reached the top, it was immediately swept into the downwelling current of the Grand Line. However, since Ling Tian maintains the Grand Line, there is no big problem. Ah, finally we've arrived at the Grand Line. With the help of Ling Tian's spiritual power, the Mary arrived at the Grand Line smoothly. Strangeness. After the Mary used the range of the ocean current, Ling Tian looked around. He found that there was no sign of Lab at the entrance of the Grand Line. Logically speaking, Lab should have crashed into the Red Earth continent here, but Ling Tian did not find Lab. Roar! At this moment, a roar came from the mountain at the entrance of the Grand Line. What kind of monster is that? Just as Ling Tian was listening to the roar, Sanji's frightened voice came from the side. That is. Ling Tian turned around when he heard Sanji's voice, only to find a huge red figure crawling out from the entrance of the Grand Line. Ling Tian recognized the red figure at the first sight. This guy turned out to be the Red Demon from the Demon Clan. Why does the demon god of the Demon Clan appear here? Ling Tian looked at the Red Devil in disbelief. He glanced at Luffy next to him and the entrance to the Grand Line he had just entered, and confirmed that the world he was in was the world of One Piece. The system detects the information of the Red Devil. Ling Tian didn't care about anything else and immediately detected the information of the Red Demon. Name, New Red Devil. Race, Demon. Fighting level. Introduction, the new Red Demon is a demon soldier created by the new Demon King using the power of the first Demon King. Because it contains the power of the first generation Demon King, it is much stronger than the old Red Demon. Note, the Demon Clan has 7 hearts. Because the new demon has the enhancement of the Demon King, the demon will not die before the 7 hearts are destroyed. Whenever fatal damage is caused to a demon, as long as all the hearts are not destroyed, the demon can rely on the hearts to revive infinitely. Ling Tian was also shocked when he saw this information. According to this information, the current Demon Clan is ruled by a new Demon King. Not only that, this new Demon King also used the power of the first generation Demon King to create new demons. The Red Demon alone actually has a fighting level of 20,000. You should know that in the original book, the Red Demon only has a fighting level of around 3,000. Now it has suddenly risen to 20,000. You can imagine how much the capabilities of the Demon Clan have improved. The Red Demon God among the lower level demon gods alone has a fighting level of 20,000, so the fighting level increase of the 10 rings under the Demon King must be terrifying. In the original work, Galen's normal level is 20,000, and with his magic critical breakthrough, his level can reach 40,000. Therefore, the current 10 commandments have a guaranteed fighting level of 80,000 or even higher. Just at this moment Ling Tian heard Luffy's voice and reacted. Luffy was slapped away by the red demon. Fortunately, Sanji caught Luffy, otherwise he would have fallen into the sea. It turned out that while Ling Tian was thinking just now, Luffy and the others had already launched an attack on the red demon. Although Luffy's fighting level has now exceeded 10,000, he is still no match for the red demon whose fighting level is as high as 20,000. Hey, Ling Tian, go save them. When Usopp saw Luffy being knocked away, he immediately came to Ling Tian and shook Ling Tian. After hearing what Usopp said, Ling Tian walked directly to the red demon with moon steps and pulled out the lightning. Iteryu, red bird. Ling Tian directly used the sword style to cut the red devil into 2 halves. Although the red demon god's fighting level has reached 20,000, this fighting level is nothing to Ling Tian. Great, I finally defeated him. Zoro breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Ling Tian cut the red demon in half. Sanji was relieved when he saw this, and wanted to get closer to the body of the red demon to see what it was. Get out of the way, Sanji. Ling Tian was also shocked when he saw Sanji's actions. But he knew that the demons could be resurrected again and again as long as they still had hearts. Sure enough, when Sanji approached the red demon opened his eyes and punched Sanji into the sea. Zoran. Seeing this, Ling Tian immediately asked Zoro to catch Sanji. When Zoro heard Ling Tian's words, he understood and jumped into the sea to pick up Sanji. Really? You still cause trouble for others. Zoro carried Sanji back to the Mary and spoke. Sanji also knew that it was his fault this time, so he didn't make any excuses. When Zoro saw Sanji's expression, he didn't say anything, but silently pulled out the 2 swords. P.S. Today the author will update 3 times, and will do so in the future. So I beg all readers to support me, the current data is really bad. Can you imagine how I felt when I saw the data drop from 800 to 80? Chapter 62, The Real Kato. Don't come over here, Zoro. Seeing Zoro drawing his sword and coming to help him, Ling Tian scolded Zoro and told him not to come over. This red demon's fighting level is higher than Zoro's, plus he has 7 hearts. There is no guarantee that Zoro will be injured or even die because of this. Although Zoro now has the protection of blood-sucking, who can guarantee that no accidents will occur? When Zoro heard Ling Tian's words, he also stopped. He also knew that he was no match for this red monster. When Ling Tian saw Zoro stop, he also pulled out the Raijin Jaka from his waist. Dual sword style, 5 dragon leap. Ling Tian brandished 2 swords and transformed them into 5 white flying dragons, hitting the red demon god in 5 places on his body. These 5 places are the 5 hearts of the demon clan. Although the red demon god fell down after 5 hearts were hit by Ling Tian, he stood up again quickly. The demon clan has a total of 7 hearts, so the red demon still has 2 hearts. The red demon stood up and knocked Ling Tian away with a punch, but Ling Tian did not fall into the sea like Sanji because he had the wind ring. Roar! The red demon who knocked Ling Tian away inserted his hands into his body. The red devil actually took out the only 2 hearts he had left from his body. Roar, roar, roar! The red devil was roaring something, like a spell. What is he doing? Sanji was somewhat puzzled by the red devil's actions. I didn't expect he had 2 hearts. Zoro's focus is different from Sanji's. This is really interesting. Let's ask him to be our partner. Luffy said excitedly as he watched the red demon's actions. The people on the ship found Luffy's words impossible. How could he agree to be their partner? Moreover, the red demon's size was too big to fit on the Mary. Roar! After the red devil let out a huge roar, his whole body began to shrivel up. Boom! A white beam of light rose from the side of the red demon, and then a tall figure who seemed to be wearing armor walked out of the beam of light. That guy is... Ling Tian immediately lost his composure when he saw the figure who seemed to be wearing armor. Nami, drive the Mary and take everyone away from here immediately. After seeing that figure, Ling Tian immediately said to Nami. Why? Nami was also a little confused when she heard Ling Tian's words. She didn't understand why they had to leave first. Zoro stopped Nami and advised them to leave first. Even Ling Tian needs to treat them seriously, so if they stay here they will only be a hindrance. Nami, let's go first. Even Luffy, who is always cheerful, advised Nami to leave first. Although Luffy is always laughing and joking in normal times, he can still distinguish right from wrong when it comes to major issues. After hearing what Luffy said, Nami realized the seriousness of the matter, so she took Luffy and the others and drove away on the merry. Ling Tian was relieved to see the merry leave. What he feared most was that they insisted on staying. Let your partner leave first? That's a smart move. The tall figure that appeared looked at the merry going away and smiled at Ling Tian. Ling Tian also became solemn as he looked at the tall figure. This guy looks very similar to Galan, one of the 10 commandments in the original work, except that Galan's skin is red, while his is grey. Who are you? Ling Tian looked at Jiatuo in front of him and asked. Ha 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 ha, I am a subordinate of the Demon King, one of the new 10 commandments, the real Gato. When Jiatuo heard Ling Tian's question, he also answered. Ling Tian also used the system to detect Gatuo's information while Gatuo was answering questions. Name, Jiatuo. Race, Demon. Fighting level. Magic, critical breakthrough, after use, the fighting level can be raised to. Ability imitation, can imitate other people's magic, physical skills, etc., but can only be used once a day. Commandment, truth, anyone who lies in front of Gato will be petrified. Introduction, Jiatuo, one of the new 10 commandments, possesses the true commandments bestowed by the Demon King and the power blessing of the first generation Demon King. Is that so? After reading the introduction of Gatuo, Ling Tian also confirmed his guess. Although his guess was verified, Ling Tian did not expect that Gatuo's fighting level was actually as high as Gundam. It can even reach the fighting level when using critical breakthrough. You are not from this world, right? Jiatuo looked at Ling Tian and spoke. Let's be each other. Although Ling Tian didn't know how Gatuo knew that he was not from this world, Ling Tian had to know more about the demon clan. Let's make a deal. Jiatuo also had no intention of fighting Ling Tian, so he sat down and spoke. Trade. When Ling Tian heard what Jiatuo said, he flew to Jiatuo and asked in confusion. He didn't know why Jiatuo wanted to make a deal with him, but Ling Tian understood that he had to get more information about the demon clan from Jiatuo. You help us seize this world. When we succeed, the Demon King will definitely reward you generously. You're not from this world anyway. Gato also proposed his own deal. Why do you want to make a deal with me? With your strength, it should be easy for you to take over this world. Ling Tian didn't understand why Gatuo was looking for him. Logically speaking, the highest combat power in the pirate world is around 4000 Do level. Not to mention the Demon King, even the current Gardo can conquer the entire pirate world by himself. It's okay to tell you. Because our main body cannot come to this world at all, at most we can send some red demons or more advanced orange demons to this world. Jiatuo also told Ling Tian the truth. However, there was one thing he had not told Ling Tian, which was that the Demon King could teleport their 10 rings to this world. However, only one can be transmitted at a time. Really? That means you are a phantom now. Ling Tian didn't believe that they couldn't come to this world. After all, in the original work, it was easy for the Demon King to enter the human world. Even he himself can enter and leave the human world at will. Although the world of One Piece does not belong to the worldview of the 7 deadly sins, at least the Demon King can bring the 10 commandments over. Yes, I am indeed a phantom. Gato replied. Ling Tian also curled up the corners of his mouth when he heard what Jiatuo said. Where are you looking? Ling Tian pointed at the red demon god whose heart had just been sacrificed. I saw that the red demon had begun to turn into stone. You fool me. Gato also reacted when he saw the state of the red demon. His commandment is truthfulness, and lying to both his enemies and himself will turn them to stone. He had just received the true precepts not long ago, so he didn't pay attention. Chapter 63 Kurikas. Because he appeared here because of the sacrifice of the red demon, the rule of lying by Gato naturally also fell upon the red demon. We will meet again. After the sacrificed red demon was petrified, Gato also disappeared in front of Ling Tian. Marijoa, among the flowers. Dr. D. Ling Tian, I will remember you. Sitting on the ground, Gato muttered to himself as he looked at a bounty order in front of him. Ling Tian sighed. Ling Tian got some key information from Jiatuo just now. First, the demons have come to the world of pirates, and compared to the original work, they have become more powerful. Second, the 10 Commandments, the top combat power among the demon clan, may also have come to the pirate world, and the abilities of the 10 Commandments are extremely strong. Even if you try your best, you may not be able to defeat the 10 Commandments. Thinking of this, Ling Tian immediately used the bracelet to sense the location of the Mary. Aboard the Mary. I don't know how Ling Tian is doing. Usopp looked at the entrance to the Grand Line in the distance and said worriedly. Don't worry, Ling Tian is very powerful. Zoro comforted Usopp. Although he said so, it can be seen from his eyes that he is also worried about Ling Tian. In order to prevent Ling Tian from finding them, they stopped at an island near the Grand Route. Boom! At this moment a huge whale emerged from the seabed. Oh, what a big whale! Usopp said in shock as he looked at the whale in front of him. The Mary was like an ant in front of the whale. Is this a sea king? Zoro was also a little shocked when he looked at this huge whale. The whale ignored Luffy and the others on the Mary and opened its mouth wide. Oh no, we are going to be eaten by a whale. Luffy saw Laboon open his mouth and walked around nervously on the Mary. Let me kill him in third gear. Luffy thought about blowing air into his hand. Bump! Just when Luffy was about to use the third gear to kill Lab, Usopp lost his balance and knocked Luffy aside. Everyone! Ling Tian also arrived here just when the Mary was swallowed by Lab. Is it still too late? Ling Tian looked at Labu in front of him and held his forehead. Inside Rab. Oh, I thought we were eaten by a giant whale. Usopp opened his eyes and breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the Mary floating in a blue sky with white clouds. What? It's fake. When Luffy saw this scene, he also thought that what happened just now was fake. No, you guys. Nami was the first to notice something was wrong. The clouds and birds in the sky were motionless, and it was obvious that they were words. What? When Luffy heard what Nami said, he also looked around. Is that a painting? Sanji looked at the sky where Nami was pointing and understood. So we are still inside the whale. We're going to die. We're going to melt. Usopp also ran around nervously after hearing what Nami and the others said. When Luffy saw Usopp, he also tried to run around on the Mary. Just be quiet for a moment. Nami punched Usopp and Luffy respectively. Gomnace X2. Usopp and Luffy, who were beaten by Nami, immediately became quiet. Who drew these pictures inside the whale? After beating up Luffy and Usopp, Nami continued to look at the strange images inside Lab's body. Ah, look at that! Is there an island over there? Just as Nami and the others were looking at the paintings inside Lab's body, Usopp pointed to a place and spoke. Where is it? Nami and the others heard what Usopp said and looked where he was pointing, but they found nothing. It's true. Usopp directly handed a telescope to Nami. Really, Usopp, you have a really good eye. Nami also saw the small island in the distance through the telescope. He hadn't expected Usopp to be able to see an island so far away. Of course, I am Sniper Usopp. Usopp also became proud when he heard Nami's praise. After Nami discovered the island, she commanded the Mary to head towards the island. Soon the Mary approached the island. There are buildings in this place. When Luffy and his friends approached the island, they discovered that there was actually a house on the island. Soon an old man came out of the house, sat on a chair on the island and started reading a newspaper. Who are you? Sanji immediately became alert when he saw someone coming out of the house. Zoro also drew out his two swords, and Bloodthirsty also held his own body as if facing a formidable enemy. Usopp, Luffy and the others also took a fighting stance. Don't mess around, people will die. Crocus looked at Luffy and the others who were on high alert and spoke. You old bastard, who do you think will die? Zoro was unhappy when he heard what Crocus said. He couldn't believe that a mere old man could kill them. As a result, Crocus's next sentence left Zoro stuck. Of course it's me. Kuricus spoke slowly while looking at the newspaper in his hand. But he still caught a glimpse of the straw hat on Luffy's head. That straw hat suits you very well. Crocus looked at Luffy's straw hat and thought about the days when he sailed with Roger. Really? Grandpa, do you know Shanks? Luffy immediately became excited when he heard Crocus mention his straw hat. For Luffy, anything about Straw Hat or Shanks can make him excited. Shanks. When Crocus heard Luffy's words, he also remembered the red-haired kid on Roger's ship. A few years ago, Crocus learned from the newspaper that Shanks is now one of the 4 emperors of the New World. He didn't even expect that the red-haired kid had become one of the 4 emperors. What made Kuroko's even more surprised was that the red-nosed kid had also become one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Of course he knows Shanks, Luffy. Just as Kuroko's was reminiscing, a voice came from the air. Ling Tian, I'm so glad you're okay. Luffy said happily as he looked at Ling Tian flying in the air. The others were also relieved when they saw Ling Tian. How could anything happen to me? Ling Tian threw the 2 people he was holding aside and spoke. These 2 people are Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine, Lao Sha's men. Miss Wednesday, also known as Princess Vivi of Alabasta. Why are you here again? Why don't you give up? Kuroko's spoke when he saw Wai Wei and Mr. Nine being left aside by Ling Tian. Long time no see, Kuroko's. Ling Tian ignored Wai Wei and the others, and greeted Kuroko's instead. Chapter 64 Agreement. Why are you here? Kuroko's was also puzzled when he saw Ling Tian. After hearing what Kuroko's said, Ling Tian explained to him that he is now the vice-captain of the Straw Hat Pirates. When Kuroko's heard Ling Tian's words, he complained that Ling Tian was a monster for not getting on Roger's ship in the first place. Wait a minute, Grandpa. The Roger you are talking about is the one, the Pirate King, Golden Roger. Nami also asked after hearing what Kuroko's said. Golden Roger? That's what everyone calls him now. Kuroko's also sighed when he heard Nami's words. Now, apart from the people he knew in the old days, not many people know Roger's real name. Gold Roger. This person used to be the ship doctor on the Pirate King's ship. Ling Tian also introduced Kuroko's to Luffy and the others. When Luffy heard that Kuroko's was once Roger's doctor, he excitedly surrounded Kuroko's and asked him about Roger. Nami and the others couldn't believe what Ling Tian said. This old man was actually the legendary Pirate King's ship doctor. Oh no, Ling Tian, the 2 people you just captured are missing. Just when Luffy was pestering Kuroko's to talk about Roger, Usopp discovered that Vivi and the others were missing. Ling Tian waved his hand to indicate that it didn't matter, just don't meet him. Anyway, they will meet again soon. Ling Tian thought to himself. By the way, Grandpa, what's going on with this whale? Nami didn't ask Kuroko's about Lab until after Luffy had asked Roger's question. This whale's name is Labu, and it's the pet of the Rumba Pirates. Kuroko's also explained the matter of Laboon to Luffy and the others. When entering the Grand Line, the Rumba Pirates left Lab here and promised that they would return in 3 years. But year after year, the Rumba Pirates still haven't returned here, although Lab also speculated that the Rumba Pirates had died in the Grand Line. But Rab didn't believe this fact, so he crashed into the Red Earth continent over and over again. That's how he got the wound on his head. But a few days ago a huge red monster appeared there, so I asked Rab to leave there. Kuroko's explained the whole story about Lab to Luffy and the others. He believed that the person who was entrusted with this hat by Shanks would definitely not be a bad person. What's more, Ling Tian is still on that boy's boat. That huge red monster is a soldier of the Demon Clan. After hearing what Kuroko's said, Ling Tian also explained to them the matter of the Red Demon. Demon Clan? What is that? Sanji was puzzled when he heard Ling Tian's words. As a member of the Vinsmoke family, Sanji has some understanding of most of the races on the sea, but he has never heard of the existence of the demon race. Ah, the Demon Clan is a race from another world. They have 7 hearts. As long as the 7 hearts are not destroyed, the Demon Clan members will not be killed. The ranks of the Demon Clan are the strongest, the Demon King, the next strongest, the 10 Commandments, and the ordinary demon soldiers. Ordinary demon soldiers are divided into 9 types from weak to strong: White Demon, Blue Demon, Green Demon, Yellow Demon, Red Demon, Orange Demon, Grey Demon, Copper Demon, and Silver Demon. The one before was a Red Demon. Ling Tian also explained the situation of the Demon Clan to Luffy and the others. That was just an ordinary Red Demon. Soran was also somewhat shocked when he heard Ling Tian's words. The Red Demon who was infinitely more powerful than them was actually just a soldier of the Demon Clan. And above that there are 4 demons who are even more powerful than that one. After hearing Ling Tian's words, everyone on the melee felt a sense of crisis. After hearing Ling Tian's words, everyone on the melee began training. Ling Tian also planned to hold a lottery to see if he could improve the overall strength of the Straw Hat Pirates. After chatting with Ling Tian and the others for a while, Kuroko's told Nami how to get out of Lab's body. Nami, this is for you. Ling Tian threw a pointer to Nami. This is the eternal pointer that Ling Tian bought in Rogue Town before. What's this? Nami took the eternal pointer thrown by Ling Tian and said in confusion. This is the eternal compass used in the Grand Line. Once you enter the Grand Line, you can no longer rely on the nautical chart. Ling Tian also explained the function of the eternal pointer to Nami. Nami was also shocked when she heard Ling Tian's words. She thought that nautical charts were also used in the Grand Line. Ha ha ha, newcomers are always like this. Crocus also laughed when he heard what Nami and Ling Tian said. Hey Luffy, what are you doing? Just at this moment, Sanji's voice came from the side. Ling Tian and Nami heard Sanji's voice and turned around to see that Luffy had actually taken down the mast of the Mary. Then he fought with Lab, but in the end there was no winner between the two. I'm strong, right? Luffy said while lying on the Mary. When Lab heard Luffy's words, he didn't understand what he was going to do. After fighting with me, this guy lay there and talked to himself. But Lab soon understood Luffy's intention. Luffy and Laboon agreed that Luffy would come back to see Laboon after they sailed the Grand Line for a week. Then he used paint to draw the Straw Hat Pirates pirate flag logo on Lab's head. When I watched One Piece with Ling Tian, I couldn't help but think when I saw this, is this paint sure it won't be washed off? Stupid Luffy, why did you take down the mast of the Mary? After seeing Luffy and Laboon make their agreement, Nami punched Luffy on the head. Ling Tian also watched this scene with a smile, and then used spiritual magic to restore the mast of the Mary. Goodbye Rab, we will definitely come back. Luffy waved to Lab from the stern of the Mary. Lab also watched the Mary leave. They are the ones we are waiting for, right, Roger? Kurika's muttered to himself as he watched the Mary sailing away. Soon the Mary disappeared from the sight of Kurika's and Lab. Aboard the Mary, Ling Tian was on the lookout tower, watching Luffy and the others playing below, and thinking about how to improve their strength. After thinking it over, Ling Tian still felt that drawing lots was the fastest way to improve their strength. System, is there any way to directly draw items that increase strength? Ling Tian didn't have any clues, so he just asked the system if there was any solution. Ding, the host can draw a system upgrade ticket to upgrade the system. One system upgrade ticket will be issued for every 100,000 draws. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Ling Tian was also shocked when he heard what the system said. He didn't expect that the system's lottery shop could actually draw such things. P.S. I heard that many people haven't watched the 7 Deadly Sins and don't know much about the Demon Clan. So the author later planned to find a way to delete the Demon Clan. Please give the author a chance, I beg you all. 3. Chapter 65 Susanoo. The system will draw 100 times and 1000 times in a row. After hearing what the system said, Ling Tian also planned to directly take out the system upgrade coupon. Ding, insufficient system space detected. Please select the level of items to be destroyed, otherwise the rare items drawn will be automatically destroyed. Destroy everything below diamond. Ling Tian thought about it and decided to destroy all items below diamond level. 100 times 1000 consecutive draws means 100 purple gold items. The system space only has 64 grids of space, so even if Ling Tian only keeps the purple gold items, most of the items will be destroyed. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning the purple gold level item system upgrade voucher. Ding, congratulations to the host for drawing the purple gold level item virtual space. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning the purple gold level item space wall enhancement voucher. Ding, congratulations to the host for drawing the purple gold level item 3 card chakra. Ding, congratulations to the host for drawing a purple gold level item, a Mangeki Sharingan, powerless version. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning a purple gold level Sharingan upgrade voucher. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning a purple gold level Sharingan upgrade voucher. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning a purple gold level Sharingan upgrade voucher. Ding, congratulations to the host for drawing a purple gold level item resurrection ticket. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning a purple gold level item, Sun God Nika summoning ticket. Ding, the system is running low on space, the drawn item has been destroyed. Ding, the system is running low on space, the drawn item has been destroyed. Ding, the system is running low on space, the drawn item has been destroyed. A great harvest. Ling Tian looked at the items drawn from the system space and smiled. System, use the system upgrade voucher immediately. Ling Tian can't wait to upgrade the system. After upgrading the system, he can improve the strength of Luffy and the others. I have to say that Ling Tian is really embarrassed. Among so many purple gold level items, not a single one is suitable for Luffy and the others. Ding! Warning! Please use up all items in the system space first, otherwise all items in the system space will be automatically destroyed when the system is upgraded. After hearing what the system said, Ling Tian also planned to use all the items in the system space first. Virtual space, a purple gold level item that can pull entities into virtual space and simulate various things in virtual space. It can also remotely pull others into virtual space with their consent. First is the virtual space. This space is the same as the one Ling Tian used to fight Rock Lee before, but this space has one more function. After Ling Tian took this out, the virtual space turned into a necklace. That's great! We can then let Luffy and the others enter the virtual space for training. After looking at the virtual space, Ling Tian continued to look at the next item. Space Wall Reinforcement Voucher, purple gold level item, can strengthen the space wall of a specified world. This thing is mediocre. Ling Tian looked at the space wall strengthening voucher and complained. He didn't understand how this thing could be a purple gold grade item. After Ling Tian took this out, it turned into a miniature pyramid. Next. Ling Tian put away the miniature pyramid and continued to check other items. Sanka Chakra, purple gold level item, chakra from the Naruto world, can enable people to learn all kinds of ninjutsu. Sanka, as the name suggests, is the chakra of 3 Kakashis. This is good. Ling Tian looked at this and started using it immediately. Ling Tian only felt a warm current flowing through his body. Is this chakra? Ling Tian looked at the purple, flame-like aura that he had condensed in his palm and smiled. Carry on. Mangekyo Sharingan, no power version, a purple gold grade item, a bloodline limit from the Naruto world, and the highest level of evolution of this bloodline limit under normal improvement. It does not have any Mangekyo Sharingan abilities, but it can use the third power, Susanoo, by gathering both eyes. Ling Tian looked at the introduction of the Mangekyo Sharingan and started thinking. If he remembered correctly, he had also drawn a single Megatama Sharingan before. Thinking of Ling Tian, he started searching in the system space. Soon Ling Tian found the Sharingan in a corner of the system space. Ling Tian immediately used these 2 Sharingan. Forward. After using the Sharingan, Ling Tian felt a sharp pain in his eyes, and then a tear of blood flowed from his eyes. It took Ling Tian several minutes to open his eyes. Ling Tian took out a mirror from the system space and looked at it. Ling Tian's left eye was a red eye with a single Megatama, while his right eye was in the shape of a 5-pointed star. After using the Sharingan, Ling Tian felt that his vision became clearer. He could see clearly a small island thousands of miles away. After experiencing the benefits brought by the Sharingan, Ling Tian continued to check other items. Sharingan Upgrade Voucher, purple gold grade item, from a parallel world of Naruto, each one can upgrade the Sharingan to the next level. To upgrade from the Mangekyo Sharingan to the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, 4 system upgrade tickets are required. Use 3 Sharingan upgrade tickets to upgrade the single Magatama Sharingan to the Mangekyo. Ling Tian upgraded his single Megatama Sharingan to Mangekyo without hesitation. After all, his eyes with one single Megatama and one Mangekyo were too ugly. Isn't there a saying that goes like this? Being strong is a temporary matter, but being handsome is a lifelong matter. Congratulations to the host for using the Sharingan upgrade voucher to upgrade the single Megatama Sharingan to the double Megatama Sharingan. Congratulations to the host for using the Sharingan upgrade voucher to upgrade the double Megatama Sharingan to the triple Megatama Sharingan. Congratulations to the host for using the Sharingan upgrade voucher to upgrade the 3 Megatama Sharingan to the Mangekyo Sharingan. A stream of blood and tears flowed from Ling Tian's left eye again, but because Ling Tian had experienced this just now, it was nothing to him this time. After using the system upgrade coupon, Ling Tian's left eye changed from a single Megatama to a double Megatama, then from a double Megatama to a triple Megatama, and finally from a triple Megatama to a 5-pointed star. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan and unlocking the third power, Susanoo. Begin. After obtaining a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan, Ling Tian's pupil power automatically used Susanoo. I saw skeletons surrounding Ling Tian, then flesh and blood covered the skeletons, and then a set of armor wrapped the flesh and blood to form a purple Susanoo. Ah, what is this, Ling Tian? After discovering that Ling Tian used Susanoo, Luffy immediately ran to Ling Tian and asked. However, when Luffy tried to approach Ling Tian, he was blocked by Susanoo. What is that? Zoro was also a little curious when looking at Ling Tian's Susanoo. Robot? Or something? Sanji was also puzzled. Chapter 66 System Upgrade. This one. This is my new ability. Ling Tian looked at the Susanoo surrounding him and explained to Luffy and the others. This ability is called Susanoo. After saying that, Ling Tian took back Susanoo. When Ling Tian obtained a pair of Mangeki Sharingan, he automatically learned how to freely retract and release Susanoo. Susanoo? What is that? Luffy still stared at Ling Tiandao. It seemed like he was determined to get to the bottom of things and insisted that Ling Tian give him an explanation. Ling Tian was speechless when he saw Luffy like this. However, he still summoned Susanoo again. What? As soon as Susanoo revealed its flesh and blood, Ling Tian fell to his knees with his eyes covered. Bleeding continued to flow from the eyes. Ling Tian. Seeing this, Luffy immediately ran to Ling Tian. When Sanji and Zoro heard Luffy's words, they immediately jumped onto the observation deck. Ho ho! I'm fine, Luffy. After Ling Tian felt that his eyes were not so painful anymore, he said to Luffy. Sorry Luffy, I can't show you Susanoo now. Ling Tian also apologized to Luffy. Just now, after he used Susanoo, he felt a stinging pain in his eyes. It's okay, do you want to eat some meat? Luffy also spoke after seeing that Ling Tian was fine. He was injured when he was a child, but he was completely fine after eating meat, so that's why he told Ling Tian this. Idiot, how can you eat meat? Zoro also cursed when he heard Luffy's words. Sanji thought to himself when he heard Zoro's words. Green algae head is still reliable. The next second, I heard Zoro say that of course I should drink. You two idiots, you should know you should get medical treatment no matter how you look at it. Sanji said angrily after hearing what Zoro and Luffy said. After all, if you are injured, you should go to the hospital for treatment. How can you eat meat and drink alcohol? Ling Tian was speechless after hearing what Luffy and Zoro said. He really wanted to complain that not everyone has a perverted body like yours. But he still didn't say anything, and told Luffy and the others that it was okay and they just needed to take a rest. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Luffy and the others left the observation deck one after another, leaving Ling Tian to rest alone. They were not worried that anything might happen to Ling Tian. After all, Ling Tian was a doctor to them in the Straw Hat Pirates. System, what's going on? After Ling Tian saw Luffy and the others leave, he also asked about the system reason. Ding, because the host's body does not belong to the Otsutsuki clan. Therefore, the host's body cannot withstand the power of Susanoo. Ling Tian understood something after hearing the system's voice. The Uchiha clan is the descendant of Indra, who is the son of Hago Romo. And Hago Romo is Kagaya's son, so they both have the enhanced Otsutsuki bloodline to a certain extent. That's not right, then why can Kakashi do it? Ling Tian thought for a while and thought of Kakashi in the original work. You have to know that Kakashi Hatake is a man who has made a name for himself in the ninja world with his Sharingan. Even during the Fourth World War, Kakashi got a Susanoo experience card. Can you compete with Muvyukai? The system directly responded with one sentence. When Ling Tian heard what the system said, he thought it seemed to be like this, but he felt something was wrong. System, are you kidding me? Can I tell you that I encountered a problem when copying? Well, what should I do with this system? I won't be unable to use Susanoo forever, right? Although Ling Tian listened to the system's lies. Blah blah blah. After the system's explanation, he understood why he couldn't use Susanoo, but Ling Tian still asked the system without giving up. Of course not. As long as the host draws the Uchiha's physique or Indra's or Sage's body, this problem can be perfectly solved. The system explained. Ling Tian was speechless when he heard what the system said. He had to draw another physical condition. However, Ling Tian did not say anything, but continued to check the remaining items. Resurrection Ticket, a purple gold level item that can revive the dead. Note, the resurrected person must have a complete body. When Ling Tian saw this, he thought of Roger's body and Liu Ju's body in the system space. After thinking it over again and again, Ling Tian decided to resurrect Roger first. After all, combat power is more important. However, Ling Tian had no plans to resurrect Roger now. After all, the resurrection ticket could only resurrect a person, but it could not cure the resurrected person's illness. If Roger were to be resurrected now, he would soon die again from his illness. Watching Ling Tian take out the resurrection ticket from the system space. After the resurrection ticket came out of the system space, it turned into a card. After Ling Tian put away the card, he continued to look at the last item. Sun God Nika Summoning Ticket, Purple Gold Level Item, can summon the legendary liberation fighter, Sun God Nika. Sun God Nika, a fictional character worshipped by someone in the pirate world 1,000 years ago. 800 years ago, for some reason, people in the world regarded Joyboy as the legendary Sun God Nika. This summon ticket will summon the legendary true liberation fighter, Sun God Nika. Note: since the summoned characters have self-awareness, please use them with caution. Ling Tian was also a little shocked when he saw this photo. This summoning ticket could actually summon the real Nika. You know, Luffy, who had just eaten the animal-type human fruit, the mythical beast, and the Nika form, was already semi-invincible when the fruit awakened. If the real Nika in the legend is not possible, he can directly sweep the pirate world. Although he thought so, Ling Tian did not summon Nika yet. Ling Tian jumped directly from the observation deck. Then he talked to Luffy and the others and went straight into the virtual space. After arriving at the virtual space, Ling Tian took out various things from the system space. Even Roger and Liu Ju's storage cabins were taken out. System: start using system upgrade coupons. After taking out the things in the system space, Ling Tian couldn't wait to use the system upgrade voucher. System upgrade coupon in use. The system is being upgraded. Update completed. After waiting for a while, the system upgrade was finally completed. Properties panel. After upgrading the system, Ling Tian couldn't wait to look at the property panel. Host: Ling Tian. Level: Level 4, there are 10 levels in total, and the highest level in the pirate world is level. Ability: Sealing Device Lightning, Open. Items owned: Sealed Lightning, Raijin Jaka, Zangkan no Tachi, Ace, Gale Ring. Physical Skills: 8 Gates of Dungia, the first gate has been unlocked. Domineering: all 3 colors of Domineering are at full level. Swordsmanship: Level 10, there are levels in total. And the highest level in the pirate world is level. System space: 128 grids. Lottery shop: the prizes in the shop are divided into levels 1 to 10, and the highest level item that can be won in the current world is level 4. Lottery 0. Introduction: he is very successful in the pirate world, but he is just a rookie when he comes to a higher world. Chapter 67: The Role of Virtual Space. Ling Tian was also speechless when he saw the system introduction. He who can dominate the pirate world is just a rookie in other worlds. However, after Ling Tian read my introduction and took a closer look at the attribute panel, he suddenly discovered a problem. Nanny, how come my chance of winning the lottery has become 0? Ling Tian felt bad the moment he saw the 0 displayed on the lottery screen. How come his originally unlimited chances of winning the lottery became 0? Ding, because the system has been upgraded, the rules will of course be updated accordingly. Why didn't you say so earlier? Ling Tian felt bad the moment he heard what the system said. You didn't ask either. The system answered Ling Tian's questions honestly, which made Ling Tian not even know how to complain. How do we get a chance to win the lottery under the new rules? Ling Tian gave up after hearing what the system said, but he still asked about the new rules and how to get a chance to win the lottery. There is currently no path to get a chance to win a prize, please look forward to the next update. Ling Tian felt bad the moment he saw the system crash and say this. How come after the update I don't even have a chance to win a prize? Forget it. Ling Tian also accepted his fate after seeing this situation. What else can he do if he doesn't accept his fate? He can't let the system give him the chance to win the lottery back. Ling Tian put the things he had just taken out back into the system space and left the virtual space. We still need to become stronger. Ling Tian heard Sanji's words just after he left the virtual space. Sanji and the others also discovered Ling Tian coming out of the virtual space. It's strange, Ling Tian, why didn't you get hurt this time? Ling Tian was about to speak when he heard Usopp suddenly say this. The corners of Ling Tian's mouth twitched when he heard Usopp's words. It seemed that I had to get hurt when I came out of the virtual space. This can't be blamed on Usopp, because Ling Tian was always covered in injuries when he came out of the virtual space before. What were you discussing just now? Ling Tian ignored Usopp's words and asked Sanji. We are thinking about how to become stronger. After all, you saw that monster before. Sanji exhaled a puff of smoke and spoke after hearing Ling Tian's words. Ling Tian also started thinking after hearing what Sanji said. His original plan was to draw some items that could improve his strength from the new lottery shop after upgrading the system. But who knew that after the system update, there would be no chance to win the lottery? Ling Tian thought about it for a while and suddenly remembered that there was a function in the virtual space that could pull people in. Then could he bring Kaido in to give them special training? Okay. Just do it. After Ling Tian explained to Luffy and the others for a while, he directly sent the Mary into the virtual space. Wait here for a moment. Ling Tian said this and used the function of the virtual space to search for Kaido all over the world. Soon he found Kaido on a Nagashima in Wano country. Kaido. Ling Tian's voice came from beside Kaido. Kaido looked around but saw no one. When Ling Tian saw Kaido like this, he didn't care about anything and directly pulled Kaido into the virtual space. Kaido just felt dizzy, and then appeared in a place where there was nothing. This is where? Kaido immediately became alert when he saw this. Long time no see, Kaido. Ling Tian appeared behind Kaido and said. Brother Ling Tian. Kaido said happily when he saw Ling Tian. He didn't expect to see Ling Tian here. I pulled you in here because I need your help with something. Ling Tian didn't hesitate and directly told Kaido his purpose. Then Ling Tian told Kaido in detail the purpose of bringing Kaido in. When Kaido heard Ling Tian's words, he patted his chest and said, leave it to me. Because Kaido taught Buggy Haki in Wano country, he now knows exactly how to teach others Haki. I am Luffy, I am the man who will become the Pirate King. Luffy ran from the distant Mary to Ling Tian and Kaido and said. The reason why Luffy came here was because Usopp told him that Ling Tian had brought in a strange person. As we all know, Luffy can't handle this kind of weird thing, so he just threw a rubber rocket launcher over. Pirate King? You dare to say that, kid? Kaido also laughed when he heard Luffy's words. Because of the encounter with Ling Tian, Kaido's target is no longer Joy Boy. It is also for this reason that the current vice-captain of the Whitebeard Pirates is Kojiki Oden. Wait a minute, kid, where did you get that jade pendant? When Kaido first saw Luffy, he didn't think anything of it, but when he looked closely, he discovered that the jade pendant on this guy's neck was the one he and Buggy had agreed on. This? Buggy gave this to me. Luffy pointed at the jade pendant around his neck and spoke. Really? Are you my Ou Daodu? Kaido heard Luffy's words and patted Luffy on the shoulder. Uncle, who are you? Luffy said strangely. When Kaido heard Luffy's words, he complained that Buggy didn't tell Luffy about his own affairs. Then Kaido felt bad when he heard Luffy calling him second brother. Kaido seriously told Luffy that he should call him big brother. Luffy didn't care what Kaido said. It didn't matter to Luffy who he called. Ling Tian watched the conversation between Kaido and Luffy without saying anything, but used the function of the virtual space again to pull people in. Although Kaido is very skilled in teaching others to learn Haki. But not all the people in the Straw Hat Pirates are fighters, so Ling Tian plans to bring in those people from the places the Straw Hat Pirates visited 2 years after they separated in the original work. The first one who comes to mind unsurprisingly is Zoro's master, Hawkeye my hawk. Ling Tian explained to Hawkeye for a long time before Hawkeye believed what Ling Tian said. Next up is Nami. Ling Tian brought in all the old men from Visalia Sky Island. As for how to let these old men teach Nami, that was Nami's business. Ling Tian believes that Nami will be able to do it perfectly. Then there's Usopp. Ling Tian pulled in Hercules from the Amplification Islands. Ling Tian then pulled Marco in as well. Marco's kicking skills should be able to help Sanji. After bringing in all the people who could be brought in, Ling Tian explained to them the function of the virtual space and asked them to guide the Straw Hat Pirates. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Kaido, Marco and Mihawk also cooperated well in guiding the drafting of the Hat Pirates. Marco recognized Luffy at first sight. After all, there's a guy on their ship who always shows off Luffy's bounty to them, so it's hard not to recognize him. As for the group of old men on Visalia Sky Island, they originally didn't want to teach Nami. But after Nami's efforts, he decided to guide Nami. P.S. Sorry. This chapter is a little late because I had too many classes yesterday and today. Chapter 68 Start Training. As for Hercules, it doesn't matter. He is bored on the Amplification Islands anyway, so he might as well teach that kid named Usopp. When Luffy saw Hercules for the first time, he immediately invited Hercules to become their crew member. For Luffy, the rhinoceros beetle is as important as becoming the Pirate King. In the original work, when Usopp asked Luffy which was more important, the rhinoceros beetle or the pirate king, Luffy actually hesitated. This shows the status of the rhinoceros beetle in Luffy's mind. But Hercules refused without even thinking about it. The reason is that he doesn't want to be a pirate. Luffy was stunned for a long time when he heard Hercules refused to be his partner before he responded. Ling Tian told them how to use the virtual space and then left the virtual space. Then there are some things that should be resolved. Ling Tian looked at the red earth continent in the distance. To be precise, Ling Tian was looking at Mary Gosa on the red earth continent. Ling Tian left a tracker on the previous Gato. This tracker was drawn by Ling Tian when he was in Red Area. There is no need to use any objects, you can lock the tracker on the other person just by thinking. Ling Tian had previously checked his tracker bracelet and discovered that Gato was actually in Marijoa. Ling Tian looked at the red dot on the tracker bracelet and quickly flew towards Marijoa. However, before flying away, Ling Tian still put on the pure white mask and cloak in the system space. His purpose this time was only to deal with the 10 Commandments and the Demon King behind the 10 Commandments, and he had no intention of conflicting with them and the 5 Elder Stars. After all, they were handed over to Luffy to deal with. Soon Ling Tian arrived in Mary Gosa. In order not to attract attention, Ling Tian summoned the Black Shadow Army to sneak into Maria through the Black Shadow Kingdom. The next level of the 10 Commandments should be coming soon. Gato muttered as he squatted on the ground between the flowers. The reason why he didn't go directly to trouble Ling Tian these days was because the next 10 commandments were about to come to this world, so he had to guard it here. I see. Is the next 10 commandments about to appear? Just as Gatuo was thinking, a voice came from Gatuo's ears. Who? When Gatuo heard the voice, he immediately became alert. The first thing he thought of was that I wanted to attack him, but after changing his mind, Gatuo came to his senses and realized that the voice was a male voice. When Gato finished speaking, no one appeared around, but what Gato didn't notice was that a head emerged from the shadow under him. What's this? Gato was knocked down by the ninja soldiers that emerged from the shadows, and then was directly pulled into the Shadow Kingdom by a large number of shadow soldiers. What is this place? After being pulled into the Shadow Kingdom by the Shadow Legion, Gato discovered that there were all kinds of monsters here. Okay. He never thought that he was also a monster in the eyes of others. Long time no see, Jiatuo. Ling Tian took off the mask and said, it doesn't seem to be that long. You are. How dare you show up here? Aren't you afraid of the Demon King? Jiatuo saw Ling Tian's face and spoke. Just now when he didn't know what it was. Jiatuo was indeed a little scared, but now that he knew it was Ling Tian, Jiatuo was no longer afraid. After all, he had seen Ling Tian's strongest combat power, which was only 100,000 Do level at most. However, he could reach 130,000 Do level by using critical breakthrough. I don't want to talk to you, just tell me where the Demon King is. Ling Tian didn't waste any time talking to Jiatuo, he just wanted to resolve the issue of the Demon King as soon as possible. He wanted to solve these problems while Luffy and the others were training. Although Luffy and the others will definitely improve greatly after Kaido's training, their highest level can only be level 4. After all, the highest level in the pirate world is level 4. Unless he uses the power extracted from the system to forcibly improve himself, it is impossible to exceed the level of this world. Humph, you want to see the Demon King? Wishful thinking. Without saying a word, Gatuo used critical breakthrough to raise his fighting level to 130,000. Ling Tian checked Gatuo's current level in the system space and found that Gatuo's current level was 5.3. If you don't eat the toast, you will be punished with a drink. Seeing Gatuo's look, Ling Tian decided not to waste any more words with Gatuo. Ling Tian directly took out a card from the system space. The card only said Nascent Soul Stage Cultivation, 1 hour trial card. Use. As soon as Ling Tian finished speaking, he saw the card turned into a ray of light and flew into Ling Tian's body, and then a suffocating breath came from Ling Tian's body. This is impossible, absolutely impossible, how could you have such a powerful force? Jiatuo swallowed as he felt the sudden burst of fighting power from Ling Tian. This aura was even stronger than that of the Demon King. He didn't believe that this human could have such a powerful fighting level. Ling Tian did not say anything when he heard what Jiatuo said, but took a look at the information on the attribute panel. Ling Tian discovered that after using his nascent soul cultivation, his level had reached as high as level 8.8. Click. Just as Ling Tian was looking at the attribute panel, a clicking sound suddenly came from all around. After hearing the voice, Ling Tian looked around and found that the Black Shadow Kingdom could not withstand the aura he exuded. Upon seeing this, Ling Tian immediately rolled up Gadu, tore through space, and left the Shadow Kingdom. After being rolled up by Ling Tian, Gado couldn't move at all. After all, there was a huge gap in strength between Gado and Ling Tian. Soon Ling Tian and Jiatuo appeared in a space that looked like a starry sky. Is this the place beyond the world? Ling Tian looked around and muttered. The place where Ling Tian is now is the space outside the world of One Piece. There are countless worlds in this space, but except for the world of One Piece, all other worlds are grey. It is obvious that these grey worlds are the worlds occupied by the demons, and after occupying these worlds, the demons may have also taken away the core of the world. Ling Tian also learned these things from a book called Encyclopedia of the Other Dimensional World. The core of the world is the foundation that maintains the world and the source of energy for the world. All living things in a world rely on the energy of the world's core to survive, and when a creature dies, the energy will return to the world's core. Only in this way can the world continue to thrive and run forever. Once the core of the world is taken away, the energy of those dead creatures will disappear outside the world, and may even be taken away by the core of other worlds. However, Ling Tian saw that there was no other world around where people could survive except the world of One Piece, and those energies should have disappeared into the void. Chapter 69 Demon King. Ling Tian thought of this and didn't think any further. After all, it is very difficult to save a world that has lost its core. Besides, the cores of those worlds have been squandered by the demons. Ling Tian glanced at Jiatuo who had been knocked unconscious before he was dragged out of the world, and then began to cast a spell. Soon after Ling Tian finished performing the spell, a red thread emerged from Jiatuo's body. This is the skill that comes with the experience card, Causal Pull. This spell can make the person being cast the spell emit a thread to guide the caster to find someone who has a causal relationship with the person being cast the spell. Of course, this person was found based on Ling Tian's inner thoughts. Ling Tian looked at the direction the thread flew and followed it. At the same time, on a certain planet, in a magnificent palace, a man in black was sitting on the palace, and beneath the palace were kneeling several monsters of various shapes, as well as several human shapes. Master Demon King, what is the matter with calling us here? A handsome man in white clothes spoke. He is Jerus, one of the new 10 commandments, and also the most powerful one among them. Jerus, I can't contact Gado. That world may be in trouble. The Demon King glanced at Jerus and spoke slowly. Just now he suddenly felt that his connection with Gado had disappeared, as if someone had forcibly severed the connection between him and Gado. How can it be? Jerus was also shocked when he heard the words of the Demon King. You have to know that the Demon King's fighting level is as high as 300,000. How could anyone cut off the connection between the Demon King and Gado? Lord Demon King also said that the fighting level of the strongest person in that world is only 40,000, so it is impossible for anyone to defeat Gado. Because Ling Tian was not from the pirate world, he escaped the inspection of the Demon King at that time. Humph, my energy has just been restored. Jerus, go check what happened in that world. The Demon King snorted coldly. Although someone cut off his connection with Gado, the Demon King did not think that Guy was stronger than himself. Maybe he used some method to cut off the connection between himself and Gado. As you command, Lord Demon King. Jerus spoke after hearing the words of the Demon King. He also wanted to see what kind of person was able to kill the Demon King. You don't have to go. At this moment, a huge breath came out from the void. Then a space crack was torn in the space of the hall, and a purple-haired man wearing a cloak walked out of the space crack, along with Gado who was carried by the purple-haired man. Who are you? Sensing Ling Tian's aura, the Demon King broke out in a cold sweat. The Demon King actually felt the breath of death from Ling Tian, which meant that this being was much stronger than himself. Ling Tian did not answer the Demon King's question, but looked at the people in the palace. Ling Tian looked at a man in white and checked his information. Name, Jerus. Race, Demon. Level, 6. Commandment. Respect God. Those who turn their backs on Jerus will be regarded as disrespectful to the Demon King and will be forced to submit to Jerus. Ling Tian looked at Jerus' information and realized that he corresponded to one of the 10 commandments in the original work, Gerudries. After reading it, Ling Tian started to check the information of everyone in the hall. The others saw that Ling Tian didn't say anything and didn't dare to move. After all, the aura emanating from Ling Tian was too terrifying. Name, Adeli. Race, Demon. Level, 5.7. Discipline, Purity, disease will be inflicted on those who behave impurely. Adeli is a blonde woman. Not only that, she is not wearing any clothes. She just uses the black substance exclusive to the demon clan to cover her private parts. Ling Tian also knew that this person should be Daily Ali in the original work. Name, Monster. Race, Demon. Level, 5.7. Discipline, Silence, curses anyone who tells the secrets of their heart. Monster is a man in a black cloak, and he should correspond to Monspit in the original work. When Ling Tian saw Monster's information, he thought of Monster in the original book. This person is a sentimental person in the original book. In the original work, Dale Yai Li was tired of the war between the demons and humans, so Monspit followed Dale Yai Li and left the 10 Commandments. But in the end, because of his own precepts, he never expressed his feelings for Daly and Ellie until his death. Name, Golorodos. Race, Demon. Level, 5.5. Commandment, do not kill. Anyone who kills someone in front of Golorodos will have all his time taken away. Guri Erods is a pitch-black mass with many faces, corresponding to Guri Erod in the original work. Name, Fortune-telling. Race, Demon. Level, 6. Commandment, no desire. Those who harbor desires will have all their memories and emotions taken away. The fortune-teller is a man wearing a mask and carrying a bow and arrow on his back. This person should be the one corresponding to Gauther, one of the protagonists. Name, Guy Sina. Race, a hybrid of demons and giants. Level, 5.6. Discipline, patience, adding pain to those who cannot bear it. Guy Sina is a red-skinned giant with 3 heads and 6 arms. This person corresponds to Dolalu in the original work. However, in the original work, Dolar is not a mixed-race person, but a pure giant. Name, Lu Engzan. Race, a hybrid of demons and elves. Level, 6.6. Commandment, rest. Anyone who forcibly starts a war during a truce will have their magic power sealed. Lu Engzan is a man with 3 pairs of wings on his back. The corresponding one should be Lu Swinny, the elf king in the original work. However, what Ling Tian did not expect was that this person's level was even stronger than Jeru's, who was known as the strongest among the 10 Commandments. Name, Mesra. Race, Demon. Level, 5.4. Discipline, Faith. Those who deny or abandon their faith will have their eyes burned. Melas is a woman with pink hair and wearing a tight-fitting outfit. She corresponds to Melas Kula in the original work. Name, Demon King. Race, Demon. Level, 7.2. Introduction, the strongest of the demon clan, he is the king of countless demon clans and has the power to command all the demon clans. The commandments on the 10 Commandments are also separated from a part of the power of the demon king. After reading this information, Ling Tian threw Gatuo out. The demon king, Hui. Ling Tian stared at the demon king and spoke. When the demon king heard Ling Tian's words, he also stood up from his seat. Although he knew that the man who suddenly appeared was very strong, much stronger than himself. But the demon king still stood in front of the 10 Commandments without hesitation. Chapter 70 The Past of the Demon Clan. Ling Tian felt a little strange when he saw the 10 Commandments standing up without hesitation to protect them behind him. You have to know that the Demon King in the original book is a cruel and ruthless person who can even kill his own son at will. However, Ling Tian put these questions aside and asked the questions he originally wanted to ask. Where are the cores of those worlds where the worlds are withering? Ling Tian still wants to save those worlds whose cores have been taken away but have not been completely destroyed. We don't have that kind of thing. After thinking for a while, the Demon King told Ling Tian that he did not have such a thing. How is that possible? Aren't those worlds the cores of the worlds that you took away? Ling Tian was also somewhat shocked when he heard the words of the Demon King. He thought that those world cores were taken away by the demons. I didn't take that. The previous Demon King took it. Jerus also spoke angrily when he heard Ling Tian's words. After Jerus finished speaking, the other 10 Commandments clenched their hands with unwilling looks on their faces. The previous generation of Demon King. Ling Tian was also somewhat shocked when he heard Jerus' words. I never thought that there are 2 Demon Kings in this world now. Tell me, what is going on? After hearing Ling Tian's words, the Demon King thought for a while and then spoke slowly. The story begins 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, the demons sent a large number of demons and the 10 Commandments to invade the human world, but they were eventually stopped by a knight group called the 7 Deadly Sins Knights in the human world. After the 10 Commandments were stopped by the 7 Deadly Sins Knights, the previous generation of the Demon King tore open the cracks in time and space and came to the human world. In the face of the powerful force of the Demon King, the 7 Deadly Sins Knights had no power to resist at all. But at the last moment, the leader of the 7 Deadly Sins Knights, Meliodas, suddenly burst out with a huge amount of magic power. This huge magic power greatly increased Meliodas' strength and directly seriously injured the Demon King at that time. After the Demon King was seriously injured by Meliodas, the Supreme God joined forces with Meliodas and the 4 archangels to completely expel the demons from that world. The expelled Demon King was unwilling to give up and wanted to fight back, but he did not have strong power at the time, so the Demon King decided to seize the world cores of those worlds to improve his own strength. The Demon God clan was divided into 2 factions. One faction was led by the then Demon God King. This faction supported the Demon God King's idea and plan to fight back. The other faction supports the Stability faction. They have experienced so many battles and are already tired of fighting, so they don't want to follow the Demon King back to fight. But the Nwen faction was too weak at the time, and their words had no weight in the eyes of the Demon clan. Until 500 years ago, I went through a lot of strengthening of the world core, and the Demon King trusted me and gave me his original magic power. So I took the 10 Commandments from the Demon King when he wasn't paying attention. Finally, I took advantage of the chaos and led the Nwen faction to leave the Demon clan and come here to start a new life. The Demon King recounted the experiences of the Demon clan in one breath. After hearing what the Demon King said, Ling Tian thought for a while and then spoke. Then why do you want to go to that world? Ling Tian was puzzled. According to what the Demon King had just said, they should be the stable faction, so they should not invade the pirate world. That's because I heard that world has an extremely powerful ability. In order to prevent the pro-war faction from finding this place in the future, we must fight with a powerful force. The Demon King also explained to Ling Tian why they went to the pirate world. Because he felt an ability to suppress magic in that world, he wanted Gado to learn it. After hearing what the Demon King said, Ling Tian understood that what they were looking for was probably domineering power. Apart from domineering power, Ling Tian couldn't think of anything that could suppress magic power. If it was a devil fruit, that would be impossible, because although devil fruits were rare in the sea, they were not something that could not be found. If it was a devil fruit, Gado could have found a lot of them at that time and wouldn't have had to stay there. After knowing about the Demon clan, Ling Tian left a soul mark on their souls. Although they told him about the Demon clan, he didn't dare to believe everything the Demon King said. When Ling Tian left, he left behind a domineering cultivation method and helped them set up a barrier to prevent the pro-war faction from coming here. When leaving, Ling Tian also asked for a trace of magic power from the Demon King. Outside the pirate world, Ling Tian tore the crack again and went back, but before going back, Ling Tian used the world wall strengthening coupons he had drawn in the system space to strengthen the space wall of the pirate world. To be honest, Ling Tian originally wanted to go with them to see the pro-war demon clan, but the temporary use voucher for his nascent soul stage cultivation was about to expire. You have to know that you can leave the pirate world only by tearing open the crack. If Ling Tian's nascent soul stage cultivation is over by then and he hasn't returned yet, it will be impossible for him to come back. When Ling Tian returned to the pirate world, he took advantage of the few minutes left in his nascent soul stage and used the magic power he had just taken from the Demon King to use the power of cause and effect to completely eliminate all matters related to the demon clan in the pirate world. Ling Tian also erased the memories of the demon clan from the people in the pirate world. After finishing all this, Ling Tian felt his whole body relax, and his strength decreased rapidly. Ling Tian knew it was because the trial voucher had expired. Soon Ling Tian arrived at an island, which was a small island near Whiskey Mountain. After arriving on this island, Ling Tian entered the virtual space. Because it is a virtual space, everything in it can be set by yourself, including the environment, weapons, food, creatures, etc. Of course the time can also be set. So even though only 1 hour had passed outside for Ling Tian, 2 years had passed in the virtual space. It seems like they've trained pretty well. Ling Tian looked at the strange-shaped island condensed from the virtual space below and laughed. To the north of this island is a Nagashima of Wano country, to the south is the Kuden Islands, to the west is Mihawk's Dark Island, to the east is a plain, and in the air above the island is a sky island. 2 years of training should be enough. Ling Tian muttered as he watched the Straw Hat Pirates practicing below, then he flew downwards. The first place Ling Tian came to was Kaido's Onigashima in the north. Now on Kaido's Onigashima, the 3 main forces of the Straw Hat Pirates were fighting against Kaido. Chapter 71, Changes in the Straw Hat Pirates and Number 039, Strength. 3 Swords Style, Extreme, Tiger Hunting. Zoro covered his 3 swords with armament haki and rushed towards Kaido. Clang! Kaido directly covered his hands with armed color domineering to block Zoro's extreme tiger hunt. When Zoro saw that his attack was blocked by Kaido, he kicked Kaido and jumped away. Devil's Foot Stew. After Zoro jumped away, Sanji followed and kicked Kaido directly, sending him flying. Rubber 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 double giant guns. While Kaido was kicked away by Sanji, Luffy blew air into his hands and covered them with armed color domineering and smashed towards Kaido who was flying away. King Kong Dysprosium. Looking at the 2 huge fists flying towards him, Kaido immediately reacted by swinging the iron rod and sending out a column of energy to smash Luffy's 2 huge fists. While the stick energy was about to hit Luffy's fist, Kaido immediately transformed into a giant dragon and flew up. 3 Swords Style, 1080 Troubled Winds. Seeing Kaido transform into a flying dragon, Zoro immediately used 1080 Troubled Winds to swing several sword energies at Kaido who had transformed into a dragon. Mist Foot. Sanji also cooperated with Zoro to perform Storm Kick, one of the 6 styles of the Navy that he had learned directly. Now Sanji has learned Storm Kicks and Moon Steps, 2 of the 6 styles of the Navy, as well as the Sea Steps that are the same as in the original work. In addition, Sanji has now completely awakened his bloodline factor. Hot Breath. Upon seeing this, Kaido spit out a stream of fire to block the 2 men's attacks. Bad Wind. After blocking the attacks of Zoro and Sanji, Kaido once again spit out sickle-like wind blades from his mouth. However, although Kaido spit out a lot of wind blades, the 3 people who had undergone so much training easily dodged the wind blades spit out by Kaido. 4th Gear. After dodging Kaido's wind blade, Luffy blew air directly into his body and used the 4th gear without hesitation. Luffy's body slowly grew bigger as he kept blowing air, but his legs did not change, giving people a top-heavy feeling. As Luffy's body slowly changed, he also covered his body with armament haki. Ling Tian looked at the armament haki covering Luffy's body and judged that Luffy's current armament haki should have reached the level of Ryuo. After all, Luffy had already learned armament haki when he was in Kokozia village. Now with Kaido's guidance, it would be hard not to reach the level of Ryuo. Interesting, then let's decide the outcome with one move. Kaido looked at Luffy's Gear 4th Elastic Man and spoke. He, let's decide the outcome with one move. Luffy said while jumping up and down. Let's go, Zoro, Sanji. AX2. Blood. As Zoro spoke, waves of blood mist emerged from his body. Ling Tian knew that this blood mist should be the ability to suck blood, but he didn't know how well Zoro had mastered this ability now. Yama. As Zoro shouted the word Yama, dark red patterns appeared on Zoro's body, and then he grew 3 heads and 6 arms. 9 swords flow, blood red hell. Devil's Feet. As Sanji spoke, his feet also turned red, like the flames of hell. Ling Tian looked at Sanji's feet and thought. Now compared to Zoro, Sanji seemed a lot weaker. Ling Tian planned to see if he could find the things he had drawn out of boredom in Reteria to see if there was anything that could help Sanji. Rubber rubber rubber. Luffy also continued to inflate his hands. Zhang Sanshi Yinluo. Seeing Luffy and the others using their ultimate moves, Kaido transformed into a human beast form and jumped into the air. He spun the iron rod, wrapped his domineering aura around it, and smashed it towards Luffy and the others. Luoyanyu. Full feast of gourmet food. Great Ape King Spear. The attacks of the 4 people collided with each other, causing a strong impact that spread across the entire island. Moreover, Ling Tian discovered that the attacks of the 4 of them did not collide with each other, but were separated by a little distance in the center of the attack. This was obviously the ability of the domineering color entanglement. Ling Tian knew that Kaido and Luffy possessed Conqueror's Haki, but Ling Tian never expected that Zoro and Sanji also had Conqueror's Haki, and even learned the truth level ability of Conqueror's Haki entanglement. Boom! After a stalemate for a while, the 4 people's attacks flew in 4 directions. Ling Tian saw in the air that Kaido was flying farther than Luffy and the others, almost flying out of the island. Luffy and the others only flew a few meters away. In fact, it is not surprising. After all, this is just a training to test the abilities of Luffy and the others. Kaido probably did not use his full strength. After all, in the original work, Kaido was able to force Luffy to use his Nika form. You all have become stronger. Take the 4 people back to Ghost Island, Ling Tian said. Even though we haven't seen Luffy's Nika form, right now basically no one in the entire Grand Line dares to wipe them out. Even if the entire world government came to besiege them, Ling Tian was confident that he could run away. He, we have become very strong. Luffy smiled when he saw Ling Tian. Zoro and Sanji also smiled. They have suffered a lot in the past 2 years, but compared with their current strength, these hardships are nothing. Brother Ling Tian. Kaido saw Ling Tian and scratched his head. If he had known that Ling Tian was watching him, he would have used more strength. It was really embarrassing that he was beaten away by the 3 of them just now. Kaido did a great job. When Ling Tian saw Kaido's expression, he roughly knew what Kaido was thinking. After looking at the 3 main forces of the Straw Hat Pirates, Ling Tian went to see the changes in other people. Usopp has now become a muscular man. Luffy was very shocked when he saw Usopp with muscles for the first time. Although all the members of the Straw Hat Pirates are on this island, they are basically training separately, so they haven't seen each other for 2 years. Nami's changes are not that big. After all, Nami's strength is secondary. Nami's most important thing is navigation knowledge, so it doesn't matter whether Nami is strong or not. Of course, no matter how strong Nami is, she can beat the captain in the Straw Hat Pirates. Everyone, thank you for taking care of the Straw Hat Pirates over the past 2 years. Ling Tian looked at the person in front of him who was teaching the Straw Hat Pirates and thanked him. It's okay, brother, this is what I should do. Kaido felt embarrassed when he heard Ling Tian's thanks. Luffy, be careful. Before parting, several masters said goodbye to the Straw Hat Pirates. If you have any problem, please come to Ghost Island to find me, big brother. Kaido patted Luffy on the shoulder. He, I get it, brother Kaido. Luffy said with a smile. Zoro, I hope you can surpass me next time we meet. Ah, I will. Sanji, remember what I taught you. And everyone from the Straw Hat Pirates, welcome to the Whitebeard Pirates in the future. Ah. Thank you Marco for the past 2 years. A man's farewell needs no words. Goodbye Usopp. I understand, Hercules. Nami, take good care of yourself on the Grand Line. I understand. Thank you for teaching me about sailing. Chapter 72 The adventure continues. Soon after Ling Tian took back the virtual space, Kaido and the others returned to their original places. Although they spent 2 years in the virtual space, in the real world only 2 days had passed, or maybe even no 2 days at all. Hey, let's continue sailing. Luffy sat in his special seat and opened his hand and spoke. Ling Tian and the others were also standing behind Luffy, looking at the front and smiling. As the Mary sailed along the Grand Route, they soon saw an island that looked like a cactus. Awesome, what is that? Luffy became excited as soon as he saw Cactus Island. Cactus. Usopp also looked over when he heard Luffy's words. That should be Cactus Island. Nami spoke up. Cactus Island? It seems very interesting. When Luffy heard what Nami said, he didn't care about anything and just flew over with a rubber rocket launcher. When the others saw Luffy like this, they also held their foreheads with their hands, even though they were used to Luffy's reckless personality. Ling Tian looked at Luffy flying out and thought it was normal. After all, Luffy had trained on a Nagashima for 2 years, so this was normal. In the original work, there were many animals accompanying Luffy when he trained, but in the virtual space, there was no one else except Kaido and his friends, and the place he saw every day was the same. Whiskey Peak. Who are you? A bunch of people pointed at Luffy with various things. This time Luffy didn't hit the house, but fell headfirst to the ground. Originally, the people on Whiskey Peak saw the Mary and wanted to kill people and steal treasures as before, but this guy suddenly flew out from the pirate ship. Me. I'm Luffy, a pirate. Luffy pointed at himself and grinned. Pirate? Really? So you're a hero pirate? After hearing Luffy's words, all the people holding weapons put down their weapons and cheered. Luffy looked a little confused when he saw them, not knowing what was going on. But when these people took out a pile of meat, Luffy ignored everything and dived into the pile of meat. Soon, the Mary approached Whiskey Mountain. When they got off the boat, they saw Luffy eating and drinking in Whiskey Peak. "You are Luffy's companions, right?" A villager came out and spoke. "Ah, we are indeed Luffy's companions." Usopp spoke up when he heard the villager's words. "Really? Are you also pirate heroes? Welcome to Whiskey Peak." The villager spoke after hearing Usopp's words. Pirate hero. Nami was a little confused when she heard what the villager said. The villager heard Nami's confusion and explained to her. Puff. Ling Tian couldn't help but laugh out loud as he listened to what the villager said. Ling Tian really couldn't help it. The idea of a town welcoming pirates was simply hilarious. "What are you laughing at?" The villager was puzzled when he heard Ling Tian's laughter. "Ahem, I remembered something happy." Ling Tian simply made up a reason. The villager did not doubt Ling Tian's words. After all, they were confident that new pirates like Ling Tian would not know the situation of the Grand Line. Ordinary new pirates would indeed be deceived by their appearance. In the original work, if it weren't for Zoro, who had been at sea for a long time, the Straw Hat Pirates might have been doomed here. Following the villager's explanation, the Straw Hat Pirates also started eating, drinking, and having fun at Whiskey Peak. Especially this guy Sanji, he is hugging people left and right here. It's really enviable. Of course, Ling Tian, who had received higher education in his previous life, would not be surrounded by beauties like Sanji. Ling Tian just drank and ate meat nearby. Zoro was also drinking and eating meat like Ling Tian, but he would occasionally complain about Sanji being a lecherous kappa. As for Usopp, he followed the people of Whiskey Peak and told lies of his own making, which of course were not necessarily lies. After 3 rounds of drinking, everyone else fell asleep. Maybe it was because he had only been training for 2 years, but even Zoro was drunk. "Why aren't you drunk?" Originally Ling Tian was planning to solve the matter by himself, but then he saw Bloodthirsty next to him. "I'm not a human, how could I get drunk?" Bloodthirsty complained when he heard Ling Tian's words. "As a weapon spirit, she won't get drunk. After all, have you ever seen a knife get drunk? Okay, then the rest is up to you." After hearing what Bloodthirsty said, Ling Tian also planned to leave the next matter to Bloodthirsty to handle. After all, these guys are not worth doing it yourself. Simple. Bloodthirsty said as he looked at the group of villagers who had drawn their weapons because Luffy and the others had fallen asleep. She felt something was wrong when she first arrived on the island. Although this world was in the era of pirates, how could the people on the island welcome pirates? In addition, she just observed that those cactus thorn-like things on this cactus island were actually tombstones. By the way, be gentle with that blue-haired woman and the curly-haired man. Ling Tian looked at Nefertari among the villagers who came out and spoke softly. After all, he is one of the 5.5 crew members of the Straw Hat Pirates. "I see, but I think I've seen that blue-haired woman somewhere before." After saying that, Bloodthirster jumped down and pointed at the villagers who came out with her real body and said, "Sorry, my friends are too tired. Can you let them sleep for a while?" "Humph, there will be another grave on Cactus Island tonight. Come on." The curly-haired man pointed at Bloodthirsty and spoke. Other villagers. Not. It must be that the bounty hunter rushed towards Bloodthirsty as soon as he heard the curly-haired man's words. Humph. Bloodthirsty snorted coldly, and a powerful aura burst out from his body, knocking down all the bounty hunters who rushed over. Of course. Because of Ling Tian's words, Bloodthirsty did not knock Wei and Akalim down. King Color domineering. Ling Tian was also a little surprised when he saw the blood-sucking scene. Logically speaking, Bloodthirsty is a person from another world and should not possess domineering aura. Simple, right? The blood-sucking man knocked down the villager and smiled at Ling Tian. Ling Tian looked at Bloodthirsty and felt that he looked more and more like Dashiji in the original novel. Not. It should be said that she looks like Kuina. You are Kuina, right? Ling Tian looked at Shui Xi and asked the question in his heart. It's not that Ling Tian is too sensitive, but the appearance of the blood-sucking simulation is really similar to Kuina. Bang dang. After hearing Ling Tian's words, the body in Sushi's hand fell to the ground, and he took a few steps back with trembling body. Who I am? Bloodthirsty covered his head and screamed in pain. I am the demon sword, Bloodthirsty. No, I'm Gu. Before he could finish his words, the blood-sucking body dispersed and returned to its original form. Chapter 73 Nefertari. The sound that Bloodthirsty made just now woke up Luffy and the others. Ling Tian, what are you doing? Luffy, who had just woken up, saw the villagers and Bloodthirsty lying on the ground and immediately became angry. Without saying a word, he attacked Ling Tian. Ling Tian was also speechless when he saw Luffy rushing towards him. How come Luffy still has this kind of personality after 2 years of training? Ling Tian jumped left and right and easily avoided Luffy's attack. Second gear. When Luffy saw Ling Tian easily unleashing his attacks, he immediately used gear second. Hey, Luffy, you are not serious, are you? Ling Tian looked at Luffy's activated gear 2 and spoke. He thought Luffy was just playing with him, but he didn't expect that Luffy was serious. By the way, why are you guys just standing there watching? Ling Tian took advantage of the gap when Luffy activated gear second and caught a glimpse of Zoro and the others who were watching the show on the side and shouted. Everything would have been fine if Ling Tian hadn't shouted, but after Ling Tian shouted, Nami realized and went to search for their treasure. When a few people saw Nami searching for treasure, they immediately followed her, not caring about Ling Tian and Luffy at all. Especially Soran. Now Zoro is thinking that he has been tricked by Luffy for so long and it is finally his turn to be the vice-captain. Thinking of this, Zoro wanted to laugh. However, Zoro also knew that he had to give Ling Tian some face, so he didn't laugh until Ling Tian could no longer see Zoro. Although Lin Teng did not see Soran, Ling Tian heard Soran's voice. Okay. Ling Tian was given face, but not much. Spiritual skills assistance coma. After seeing Zoro and the others leave, Ling Tian didn't care about anything and just knocked Luffy unconscious. He didn't want to fight with Luffy here. You are from the Nefertari clan, right? After knocking Luffy down, Ling Tian turned and spoke to Wei Wei and Akarim. When Wei Wei and Akalim heard Ling Tian's words, cold sweat kept coming out of their foreheads. The fact that they are the royal family of the Nefertari clan is a secret to the outside world. Even the Baroque works behind them does not know their identities. And the person in front of him could tell at a glance that they were members of the Nefertari clan. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. We can even help you save Alabasta. Ling Tian smiled as he looked at the cold sweat on Wei Wei and Akalim's faces. To be honest, Ling Tian still admires Princess Wei Wei very much. As a princess, she has the guts to sneak up on Crocodile, which makes her stronger than most people in terms of courage and bravery. Are you the speed sword ghost Dr. Ling Tian who rivals the legendary 4 emperors? After hearing Ling Tian's words, Wei Wei also looked at Ling Tian's appearance. As a result, Wei Wei found that Ling Tian looked exactly like the one on a bounty poster she had seen in Alabasta. Dr. Ling Tian. After hearing Wei Wei's words, Akalim also looked at Ling Tian's appearance. As a result, Akalim discovered that the man in front of him looked exactly like the great pirate Ling Tian. As expected of the princess of Alabasta. Yes, I am the speed sword ghost Ling Tian. After hearing Wei Wei's words, Ling Tian told Wei Wei his identity. Anyway, there is nothing to hide about my identity. After chatting with Wei Wei for a while, Ling Tian agreed to help Wei Wei save Alabasta. After the chat, Ling Tian took Luffy to find Zoro and the others. When Wei Wei saw Ling Tian leaving, she gritted her teeth and followed him. When Akalim saw that his princess had followed him, he followed too. I didn't expect they were so rich. Nami found the small treasury and kept putting the money in it into her pocket. Didn't Ling Tian give you a lot of money? Usopp couldn't help but complain as he watched Nami pocket someone else's small treasury. What pirate would dislike Berry? Nami immediately retorted when she heard Usopp's words. When Sanji heard what Nami said, he immediately ran to Nami and agreed. Zoro watched from the side. He was thinking about what had happened to Bloodthirsty. When he woke up just now, he saw Bloodthirsty dropped on the ground and picked it up. But the strange thing is that no matter how Zoro called out to Bloodthirster, there was no response. He had to find an opportunity to ask Ling Tian what happened to Bloodthirster. Although Bloodthirster was only a weapon spirit, Soran had long regarded Bloodthirster as a partner. It should be said that everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates regards Bloodsucker as a partner. Did you have fun searching the vault? Just as Zoro was thinking, a voice came from outside. Ling Tian was seen carrying Luffy and walking towards them with 2 younger brothers following behind him. Okay. Nami heard Ling Tian's words and smiled as she picked up a large bag. The Straw Hat Pirates, knowing Ling Tian's character well, were not worried at all that Ling Tian would beat them like he did to Nami. Just as the Straw Hat Pirates thought, Ling Tian didn't care at all that they had just abandoned him. What a beautiful lady! When Ling Tian brought Wei Wei and the others in, Sanji saw Wei Wei following behind Ling Tian. Then his true nature was revealed and he ran to Wei Wei in a circle. Wei Wei and Akalam were shocked when they saw this. Okay, Sanji, stop scaring me. Ling Tian also knows Sanji's character. Sanji will not hurt a lady, but he still reminds Sanji. Ma'am, I am the chef of the Straw Hat Pirates, Prince Sanji. When Sanji heard Ling Tian's words, he realized that he was being rude, so he introduced himself to Wei Wei. Hello, I am the Princess of Alabasta, Wei Wei. I am Akaram, the captain of the Alabasta Kingdom Guard. After hearing what Sanji said, Wei Wei and Akarim introduced themselves to the Straw Hat Pirates. The Princess of Alabasta. As a princess of a country, how could you be with that group of people? Nami was also a little confused when she heard Wei Wei's words. A princess of a country should live her life peacefully in her own country. Why would she follow these people to rob at Whiskey Peak? Not only that, after 2 years in the virtual world, Nami also knew that the royal family of Alabasta was not an ordinary royal family, but one of the major families that established the world government. Logically speaking, their status is comparable to the legendary celestial dragons living in Marijoa. It's all because of Crocodile. After hearing what Nami said, Wei Wei started to explain to everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates. According to the information she obtained while undercover at Baroque Works, she knew that the boss behind Baroque Works was Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. So, Your Highness, how much do you plan to pay us to help you? After hearing Wei Wei's words, Nami instantly felt that she could make a fortune from this Princess Wei Wei. Now he was only listening to Wei Wei talking about Alabasta, so he couldn't empathize with Wei Wei's situation at all, and continued to act like a miser. Chapter 74 Nico Robin. After hearing Nami's words, Wei Wei's face turned a little unhappy. Although she is the Princess of Alabasta, their country doesn't have much money now, so she can't possibly pay the fees Nami mentioned. Nami, let's talk about money later. Ling Tian saw Wei Wei's situation and spoke. Ling Tian believed that Nami would change her mind after seeing the tragic situation in Alabasta. What? Ling Tian, this is a big mission to save a country, how can you give it to them for free? Nami immediately became furious when she heard Ling Tian's words. As a miser, she would not miss any opportunity to make money. Yes, this should be enough. After being attacked by Nami, Ling Tian compromised and took out a bag of berries from the system space and threw it to Nami. After taking berry, Nami immediately agreed to save Vivi's country with great righteousness, and even threatened Zoro and the others to go with her. After Ling Tian and his team stored up enough magnetic force on the Whiskey Mountain to record the pointer, they continued on their journey. This time, they were heading to the small garden. However, what surprised Ling Tian was that they had waited for so long at Whiskey Peak but no one from Baroque Works arrived. What Ling Tian didn't know was that the people from Baroque Works who were originally going to come to Whiskey Peak had already been captured by Smoker, who had set out before the Straw Hat Pirates. For special reasons, Akaram did not set out with them, but decided to return to Alabasta first. Aboard the Mary. Ling Tian, are we really going to that place called Little Garden? Usopp said with some fear as Nami explained the situation of the small garden to them. You should ask Luffy about this kind of thing. It's no use asking me. Ling Tian spread his hands, indicating that he had no other options. After all, I am not the captain of this ship. Hey, Luffy, are we really going to that place called the Little Garden? When Usopp heard Ling Tian's words, he immediately grabbed Luffy's shoulders and spoke. He didn't want to go to a place called the Little Garden. Nami said there might be some things from ancient times there. He, a small garden. Yo, that's the next island we're going to. Luffy ignored Usopp's protests and ordered to set off for the small garden. When Usopp heard Luffy's words, he immediately said that he had a disease that prevented him from going to the island. Okay. At this moment, Luffy and his friends used their observation haki to detect that someone had boarded the Mary. Who? Zoro shouted while looking at the rear deck of the Mary. You're really good at being alert. A woman wearing a cowboy hat walked out from the rear deck of the Mary and said. Ling Tian knew at a glance that this person was Nico Robin, one of the protagonists in the original novel. Moreover, Ling Tian also sensed that within Nico Robin's shadow was the Black Shadow Army that he had used to protect Nico Robin. You are. Wei Wei was surprised to see Nico Robin appear on the boat. As an undercover agent of Baroque Works, Wei naturally knew who Robin was. This person is the secretary of Crocodile, the boss behind the Baroque works. And the only person in Baroque works who knows who the boss behind the scenes is. Even the reason why Wei knew that the boss behind Baroque works was Crocodile was because Robin leaked the secret. Why are you on our ship? Luffy looked at Nico Robin and spoke. After hearing Luffy's words, Robin did not answer, but smiled. You look exactly like your mother, Albia. Nico Robin. Ling Tian looked at Nico Robin who was sitting on the fence and smiling and spoke. Now that the Alabasta chapter is almost here, Ling Tian plans to find a time to return to Rhedoria to bring Albia over so that the mother and daughter can recognize each other. You know my mother. Nico Robin's body trembled slightly when she heard Ling Tian's words. Although he already knew when he came on board the ship that the deputy captain of the ship was the famous pirate in the entire ocean. But she really didn't expect that he actually knew her mother. Hey, Ling Tian, do you know her mother? Usopp also spoke in confusion when he heard Ling Tian's words. Not only Usopp, but everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates had some doubts, because they had never heard Ling Tian say that. We know each other, I guess. Even if you know my mother, O'Hara has been destroyed, and my mother also died in the demon-killing order. Robin became furious when he heard Ling Tian and the others discussing his mother. As the only person in O'Hara, Robin has always regarded it as his mission to uncover the blank 100 years. O'Hara is dead. No. O'Hara still has you. As long as you are alive, O'Hara will not perish. Ling Tian looked at Robin and smiled. When Robin heard Ling Tian's words, he remembered what Zoro had said. So what if that's the case? My mother is no longer here. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Robin calmed down and spoke. Although she is O'Hara's survivor, this is a punishment for Robin. She has been wanted by the world government since she was a child, so she has been wandering around the world since she was a child. To be honest, if she wasn't the last survivor of O'Hara, Robin really wanted to die and end it all, but she couldn't do that. As the last survivor of O'Hara, she had to live. Live for your mission, to unravel the legendary blank 100 years. No, Nico Robin. Your mother, Nicole Albia, is still alive. Just as Robin was thinking about it, Ling Tian's words shocked Robin. What did she hear? Her mother is still alive, and she is not the last survivor of O'Hara. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Robin didn't know what to say. She really couldn't believe that her mother was still alive. Where is my mother? Robin quickly said to Ling Tian when he heard that his mother was still alive. The other members of the Straw Hat Pirates watched the conversation between Robin and Ling Tian quietly. This. I can't tell you now. I'll tell you where Albia is when we meet next time. Ling Tian pondered for a while and then spoke. Although he knew that Robin was a good girl, she was Crocodile's person after all. If he told Robin about Albia's whereabouts now, she might quit and go find her mother. By then, Crocodile would probably kill Robin directly because of his leaving. Although Robin now has the protection of his own shadow army, but what if? So Ling Tian doesn't plan to tell Robin the whereabouts of Albia yet. Robin's face darkened when she heard Ling Tian's words, but she was smart enough to guess why Ling Tian didn't tell her the whereabouts of her mother now. Chapter 75 Bloodthirsty Kuina. After listening to Ling Tian's words, Robin left the Mary. The next day, on the Mary. Ah, the wind has stopped again. I want to march all the way to the little garden. It's time to take a break again. Nami looked at the sky and complained. Because the Mary is a sailing ship, it still needs wind power to drive it. Even if we stop here, time will still be there. Wei looked at the stopped Mary and said worriedly. Her country is still in the midst of war. If she stays here for one more second, one more person may die in her country. Don't worry, I understand you have to race against time to get back to Alabasta. Nami heard Wei's words and comforted her. Although she had agreed to let Wei protect her country because of Wei's berry. However, after spending these days together on the Mary, Nami also understood Wei's situation. After experiencing the incident of the Kokozia village being occupied by Arlong, Nami still has some sympathy for this kind of thing. Okay, let's go fishing, fishing. Seeing the Mary stop, Luffy immediately called on everyone to go fishing. Does anyone know where the bait is? When Sanji heard Luffy say he wanted to go fishing, he immediately went to look for the iron bucket where he had put the bait before. As a result, Sanji discovered that there was nothing in the iron bucket where he put the bait. Bait. Ah, I ate the stuff in there. Luffy came over and looked at the bucket in Sanji's hand and spoke. Ling Tian's mouth twitched when he heard Luffy's words. How did you eat those baits? Luffy can eat anything, it's no wonder. Usopp laughed when he heard Ling Tian's words. Ling Tian heard what Usopp said and thought about it, and it seemed to be true. It seems like this guy Luffy can really eat anything. Really? This is delicious. As Luffy said this, he put the last worm in the bucket into his mouth and ate it. Ling Tian felt nauseous when he saw the bug in Luffy's mouth. Although Ling Tian also likes to eat insects, he likes roasted insects. What should I do? You ate all the bait. What should I do when fishing? Sanji complained as he watched Luffy put the last bait into his mouth. Use this. Luffy said while holding a furry ball. How do you use that for fishing? Sanji shouted as he looked at what Luffy had taken out. Ling Tian was speechless when he saw what Luffy took out. How could something like that be used for fishing? But when Ling Tian was thinking about it, he suddenly saw someone running fast. It seems that thing would be better than running fast. Really? Can't I? Then use this one. Luffy pointed and ran fast. Ling Tian looked at Luffy and pointed at Rune fast, and quickly found the bait he had drawn before in the system space. Wait, use this. Ling Tian handed a bag of bait to Sanji and spoke. Sanji took the bait Ling Tian gave him and opened it to take a look. There were some worms in there, more than enough for fishing. At least it's more useful than running fast. Stupid Luffy, you can't eat this X2. As soon as Sanji opened the bait, he found a hand reaching out. Luffy stretched out his arm and tried to steal the bait that Ling Tian had just taken out. Then Luffy was beaten up by Sanji and Usopp. Then Luffy went fishing obediently. Usopp was holding a telescope and looking into the distance. Hey, I saw it. I see. I saw millions of people from Little Garden Island coming to welcome me, Captain Usopp. Girls screaming, kisses flying in the air. Usopp rambled on about his imagination after arriving at the small garden. Ling Tian was also speechless when he looked at Usopp. They are pirates, how could anyone welcome them? Usopp, the small garden is an ancient island, there should be no one on it. Ling Tian couldn't bear to hear what Usopp said anymore. Nanny, is there no one? Usopp felt disheartened when he heard Ling Tian's words. He was just imagining the scene of himself going to the small garden. Now Ling Tian told him that the small garden was an ancient island. Ling Tian. Just then Zoro came over and shouted. What? Ling Tian looked at Zoro approaching and was puzzled. Do you know what blood-sucking is? I called her for a long time but she didn't respond to me. Zoro glanced at the bloodthirster on his waist and spoke. Ling Tian also felt a little strange when he heard what Zoran said. Hasn't Bloodthirsty woken up yet? He thought Bloodthirsty would wake up soon. System, what's going on? Ling Tian didn't understand what was going on so he asked the system. Ding, because Bloodthirsty triggered the special memory in his mind, Bloodthirsty is now trapped in a memory vortex. Memory vortex? What is that? Ding, the memory vortex is the deepest memory in the heart of every person, object or other thing with memory. Generally speaking, it is a bad memory. This bad memory makes the body automatically hide this memory in the deepest part. Of course, in addition to the bad memory that causes the body to automatically hide this memory in the deepest part, there is also a special method to hide a memory in the deepest part. If there is no special situation, this memory will not be triggered, but once this memory is triggered, the person's consciousness will escape into the vortex of memory. Then the reason why Bloodthirster fell into the memory vortex is because I mentioned Kuina before. Ling Tian guessed as he recalled how Xueshi had covered his head in pain after Kuina was mentioned. Bingo, correct. Because the host mentioned Kuina at that time, Bloodthirster is now trapped in a memory vortex. What is the relationship between Bloodthirster and Kuina? Ling Tian was puzzled. Blood-sucking was an item from another world, so how could it be related to Kuina? Host, please check the blood-sucking information yourself. The system did not answer Ling Tian's question, but asked Ling Tian to check the blood-sucking information himself. Show me. After hearing the system's answer, Ling Tian took the bloodthirsty from Soran's hand. View information. Name, Bloodthirsty. Type, weapon. Introduction, this is a demon sword, forged by a demon cultivator from a certain immortal world using the blood of an entire city and magic crystals. Open. Ling Tian discovered that there was an open button below the blood-sucking information. Immediately, Ling Tian clicked the open button. Special introduction: the magic crystal stone used to forge the bloodthirsty was transformed from Kuina, who was reincarnated in that immortal world. After being used to forge the bloodthirsty, Kuina turned into the bloodthirsty weapon spirit. After the demon cultivator who forged bloodthirsty was killed by the righteous man, because the righteous man found that bloodthirsty still had a heart of justice. He used some special methods to wipe out the evil spirit from Kuina, and hide all the things about Kuina deep in the blood-sucking memory. If bloodthirsty's consciousness falls into the memory vortex, someone close to Kuina needs to enter the memory vortex to awaken bloodthirsty's memory of Kuina and bring her out. Chapter 76 Memory Vortex. Ling Tian stared at the information displayed on the system interface with wide eyes, and his mind gradually became clear. He finally understood why he felt that the bloodthirsty mimicry looked so similar to Kuina when he first saw it. It turned out that Kuina was actually the bloodthirsty spirit. Ling Tian glanced at Zoro and thought for a while before deciding to tell Zoro about Kuina. Zoro, I have something to tell you. Ling Tian took a deep breath and decided to confess. Zoro turned his head and looked at Ling Tian sharply. Ling Tian pointed at the bloodthirsty mimic in his hand and said solemnly, the bloodthirsty spirit is actually Kuina. There was a flash of surprise in Zoro's eyes, which then turned into disbelief. I had suspicions before, and now it's finally confirmed. We have to enter the memory vortex and awaken bloodthirsty's memories of Kuina so that Kuina's consciousness can be awakened. Ling Tian looked at Zoro with firm eyes. Zoro clenched his fists and nodded, okay, let's go wake her up together. Before Ling Tian and Zoro decided to enter the memory vortex, they told the Straw Hat Pirates, and Zoro also explained the matter between himself and Kuina to everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates. The members of the Straw Hat Pirates were a little surprised to hear what Zoro said. They didn't expect that the bloodthirsty one who was with them was actually Zoro's childhood friend Kuina. I also need to go. After Luffy heard Ling Tian say that he was going to the memory vortex to save Kuina, he clamored to go with Ling Tian. But Ling Tian of course rejected Luffy. After all, with Luffy's personality, if he goes there, something might happen. Be quiet, Luffy. Nami yelled and punched Luffy, don't cause trouble for them. Let them go this time. Luffy calmed down after being beaten by Nami. Then it begins. Ling Tian glanced at the Straw Hat Pirates and drew a few runes on the blood-sucking blade. This is the method of entering the memory vortex added to Bloodthirsty's introduction. As long as you draw the rune on the bloodthirsty blade, the entrance to the memory vortex will appear. After Ling Tian finished drawing the runes on the bloodthirsty blade, a vortex appeared on the bloodthirsty blade. This is the entrance to the vortex of memory. Ling Tian and Zoro looked at each other, then jumped into the vortex of memories at the same time. After a dizzying moment, they came to a strange world. It's full of fog here and I can't see the surroundings clearly. Is this the world of memory? Ling Tian murmured to himself. Kuina, I will definitely find you. Zoro's voice echoed in the fog. They began to explore carefully, looking for Kuina. After Ling Tian and Zoro groped forward for a while, they found a city in front of them. Walking into the city, Ling Tian and Soran felt a sense of oppression. The streets were empty and the buildings looked old and dilapidated. They looked around vigilantly, and suddenly, there was a sound of fighting in front of them. Ling Tian and Soran quickly ran towards the direction of the sound. A black-haired girl was seen fighting fiercely with a group of soldiers. Her swordsmanship was extremely sharp, and every swing of the sword was full of determination. Kuina. Zoro recognized the girl and his eyes sparkled with excitement. He rushed forward without hesitation and fought side by side with Kuina. Ling Tian assisted from the side and used various spiritual arts to attack the enemy. With the cooperation of the two, the soldiers were quickly repelled. Kuina looked at Zoro while panting. Who are you and why are you helping me? Kuina said vigilantly as she looked at the two people who suddenly rushed out to help her. It's me, Kuina, I'm Zoro, Zoro explained after listening to Kuina's words. Just when Kuina was about to say that she didn't know them, a deep laugh sounded. A mysterious man in a black robe slowly walked out, emitting a powerful aura. Do you think you can rescue Kuina like this? She is my prisoner and can never escape. The mysterious man said with a sneer. Ling Tian and Soran looked at each other. System, check the information of the person on the other side. To be on the safe side, Ling Tian checked the information of the person opposite him. Name, none. Identity, Guardian of the Memory Vortex. Level, 5.5. Introduction, This person is the guardian of the memory vortex, and is a mimic of the person with the memory believes to be the strongest. His mission is to protect this memory hidden deep in the memory from being awakened. Ling Tian looked at the information displayed by the system and understood that only by defeating this guy could Kuina's memory be awakened. However, this guy's level is actually higher than his, as high as level 5.5. 1.5 levels higher than me. Ling Tian whispered to Soran, this guy is not easy to deal with. We have to work together to attack his weaknesses. Zoro nodded in agreement. The battle broke out instantly. Ling Tianxi exerted all his strength and rushed towards the mysterious man together with Soran. Their attacks came towards the mysterious man like a storm, but the opponent was strong and easily resisted them. The mysterious man sneered and counterattacked even more fiercely. Ling Tian and Zoro gritted their teeth and persisted, constantly looking for a breakthrough. Swordless style, tornado. The man in black waved his hands while blocking the attacks of Ling Tian and Zoro. A gust of wind pushed Ling Tian and Soran back. This is... Zoro couldn't believe it as he looked at this familiar move. Is this your tornado? Ling Tian also recognized that the moves used by the man in black were somewhat solemn. When Zoro heard Ling Tian's words, he didn't say anything, but nodded to indicate that it was correct. Zoro stared at the mysterious man, fighting spirit burning in his eyes. He recalled his past training and the agreement he made with Kuina. I must surpass him. To become the world's greatest swordsman, Zoro made a secret decision. Zoro's figure flashed and rushed towards the mysterious man like a gust of wind. His three swords drew sharp arcs in the air, interweaving into a sword net. Upon seeing this, the mysterious man lifted the cloak around his waist to reveal the three swords inside. The mysterious man pulled out one of the three swords and rushed towards Zoro. The fierce battle between the two sides caused strong winds to blow all around and sword energy to spread everywhere. Seeing this, Ling Tian also drew out the flowing blade at his waist and joined the battle. As for Gina, she seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep when the man in black appeared, and Ling Tian couldn't wake her up no matter how he called her. Yan Wang 3 Sword Style Purgatory Demon Slash. 1 Sword Style Blazing Flame Flying Dragon. Zoro and Ling Tian used their moves to slash at the man in black. Seeing this, the man in black had no time to draw the other two swords from his waist and could only use the sword in his hand to defend against Ling Tian and Zoro's moves. Boom! Ling Tian and Zoro's attacks hit the man in black, causing a burst of smoke. After the smoke cleared, the mysterious man was standing there unharmed. Sure enough. Ling Tian looked at the figure and spoke. After the smoke cleared, the man in black was unharmed, but the black clothes he was wearing had been burned by Ling Tian's fire dragon. Under the black clothes, a figure exactly like Zoro appeared. Chapter 77 Zoro vs Memory Zoro. It seems that you are the strongest in Kuina's heart, Zoro. Ling Tian looked at the figure in front of him and joked to Soran. Leave it to me next, Zoro said to Ling Tian while looking at the figure in front of him. He wants to use his own strength to defeat the self inside Kuina. Ling Tian was a little worried when he heard what Zoro said. After all, the memory Zoro on the opposite side had reached level 5.5. And Zoro's level is only level 3.5, there is a difference of 2 levels between the two. This is simply a dimensionality reduction blow. However, Ling Tian still agreed with Zoro's words and put Raijin Jaka back into the scabbard. Memory Zoro looked at Zoro expressionlessly, pulled out the other two swords from his waist, and then assumed a fighting stance. Zoro took a deep breath and also got into position, staring at the other person with a firm gaze. The battle was about to break out, and the two men were instantly intertwined, with their swords colliding and making crisp collision sounds. Every confrontation was filled with a contest of strength and skill, with both sides unwilling to give in and it being difficult to determine the winner. Although there is a full 2 levels difference between Zoro and Memory Zoro. However, Memory Zoro is only the Zoro in Kuina's memory after all, and his fighting skills are nothing compared to Zoro who has grown up and undergone 2 years of training. However, even though this is the case, Zoro is still at a disadvantage. Now the only thing that can preserve Zoro and his memory is that Zoro remains undefeated. Zoro took the opportunity to exert his strength, swinging his 3 swords and attacking with all his strength. However, Memory Zoro's strength was beyond his expectations, and he easily neutralized his attack. The secret of the 3 swords style. 1 big. 3000. The Great Thousand Worlds. Zoro shouted and used all his strength to strike out. Memory Zoro felt the power of this attack, he frowned slightly and quickly dodged. But Zoro's attack was extremely fast and still left a shallow scar on him. Zoro took advantage of the situation and chased after him, not giving Memory Zoro a chance to breathe. Nutri Iai Rashomon. As Zoro shouted, his momentum increased again, and the sharp sword energy intertwined to form a powerful attack wave. Memory Zoro steadied his body and resisted this wave of attacks. Even though Memory Zoro was only cut by Zoro with a shallow wound, this wound was not worth mentioning to Memory Zoro. Three Swords Style, Secret Technique, 3000 Worlds. Memory Zoro imitated Zoro's previous appearance and performed the secret of the Three Swords Style. After all, Memory Zoro and Zoro are the same person. As for Memory Zoro's sword skills, he learned them just by watching Zoro perform them once. Zoro didn't expect that Memory Zoro had actually learned the 3000 Worlds. Looking at the Memory Zoro rushing towards him, Zoro quickly covered his whole body with armament haki to resist the 3000 Worlds displayed by Memory Zoro. Bang dang! Memory of Zoro's 3000 Worlds hit Zoro's armed color body and knocked Zoro back several meters. Because he had just learned the 3000 Worlds, Memory Zoro was not yet able to combine the power of this move with his own strength. But even so, Zoro, whose whole body was covered with armament color, was pushed back several meters. Zoro steadied himself and focused his eyes. He knew that facing such a powerful opponent, he had to go all out. I can't lose! Zoro roared in a low voice. He held three swords tightly in his hands, which were covered with armament haki and then covered with Conqueror haki again on the basis of armament haki, preparing to meet the next round of attack from Memory Zoro. Memory Zoro saw this and showed no weakness. He adjusted his breathing and used the Three Sword Style secret technique, 3000 Worlds again, rushing towards Zoro. This time, Zoro did not choose to fight back. He dodged sideways flexibly and swung three swords at the same time, launching a counterattack. For a moment, the flashes of swords and sabers continued, and the battle between the two entered a white-hot stage. The surrounding air seemed to be shaken by their momentum, making a buzzing resonance. As Zoro and Memory Zoro continue to fight, a red mist emerges from Zoro's body. Ling Tian looked at the red mist coming out of Zoro's body, and then looked at Zoro's level information displayed on the system panel and was a little bit unbelieving. I saw that Zoro's information in the level column on the system panel was constantly improving. 3.6, 3.7, 4.5, 4.6, 5.1, 5.2. Zoro's current level has actually exceeded the level limit of the pirate world. System, what's going on? Ding! Since this place is where Kuina's memory vortex is located, and Kuina used the power of blood with Zoro when she was in the blood-sucking state, the blood in this memory vortex is now continuously injected into Zoro's body, making his strength rise steadily. More importantly, Zoro is of great significance and importance to Kuina, so he can get extra blessings and gains here. I see. This is Soran. As the strength in his body continues to increase, Zoro is able to slowly suppress his memory. Impossible, how can your power continue to grow stronger? Memory Zoro felt the power in Zoro's body growing stronger and stronger, and roared unwillingly. Zoro completely ignored what Memory Zoro said. His eyes were firm and sharp, as if burning with endless fighting spirit. The three swords in his hands flashed with cold light, and every swing was accompanied by a fierce momentum, attacking Memory Zoro like a violent storm. Memory Zoro was not to be outdone, he quickly dodged the attack and fought back with equal ferocity. For a moment, the flashes of swords and shadows crossed, and a thrilling duel unfolded between the two. Zoro's movements became more and more rapid. He flexibly used the three-sword flow technique to bring his swordsmanship to the extreme. Each sword contained powerful power and superb skills, which was dazzling. However, Memory Soran is no ordinary person, he deftly resolves Soran's offensive and looks for opportunities to launch a counterattack. The two sides go back and forth, neither giving in, and the battle intensifies. Although Zoro's level is constantly improving, it stops when it reaches the same level as Memory Zoro. In other words, the speed of improving strength has slowed down. Although Zoro's power is increasing at a relatively slow rate, it is still on the same level as Memory Zoro, allowing him to consistently suppress the opponent. In every confrontation, Zoro wielded the sharp blade in his hand, accurately and fiercely hitting the vital parts of Memory Zoro, leaving deep and shallow scars on his body. As Zoro left scars on his body, the speed of remembering Zoro obviously slowed down. Zoro's eyes condensed, his hands tightly grasped the three swords, and the power in his body burst out instantly. He rushed towards Memory Zoro like lightning, so fast that it was dazzling. He was seen waving the 3 knives in his hands, each of which was fierce and powerful. The flashing of the knives seemed to form an impenetrable defense line, completely covering the memory of Sauron. Memory Zoro felt Zoro's powerful strength, but he did not retreat, but fought back with all his strength. Chapter 78, Escape from the Memory Vortex. Memory Zoro, who was attacked by Zoro's surging and continuous attacks like a tide, was at the end of his strength. His shaky body was like a candle in the wind that could go out at any time. You have to know that Memory Zoro is just an existence responsible for guarding Kuina's memory vortex. He can't become more powerful because of various emotions like a real living person. At this moment, he was like a trapped beast. Although he was still struggling, his defeat was already decided and he could not change anything. 3 Swords Style, Secret Technique, Blue Dragon Song, Flowing Water. Zoro shouted angrily, his eyes gleaming with determination. He swung his sword with all his might, and 3 sharp sword energies intertwined to form a huge green flying dragon. The dragon bared its fangs and claws, looking majestic and powerful, and pounced towards the memory of Zoro with unparalleled might. Faced with such a fierce attack, Memory Zoro waved the 3 swords in his hands. He also shouted loudly, 3 Swords Style. Secret. 3,000 worlds. Then, he waved 3 swords and used the secret he had just learned from Zoro. In an instant, countless sword lights intertwined together like raindrops, forming a colorful sword net. The sword net enveloped the entire space, as if it was going to tear everything apart. Clang! Click! When the 2 people's moves collided, a deafening sound was heard. For a moment, sparks flew, sword energy was everywhere, and the surrounding air was stirred and rolled violently. At first, the 2 sides seemed to be evenly matched, and neither could easily break through the other's defense. However, as time went on, Sauron's momentum became stronger and stronger, and the blue dragon in his hand gradually gained the upper hand. Finally, with a loud bang that shook the earth, Zoro's flying dragon broke through the memory of Zoro's slash. The blue dragon roared and continued to rush forward. Roar! The azure dragon roared and a dazzling light emanated from its body. Its body was as fast as lightning, and with endless anger and determination, it rushed straight towards Memory Sauron. There was only a loud bang sound, and the azure dragon hit the body of Memory Zoro hard. The powerful impact force caused the surrounding space to distort. Memory Zoro groaned in pain. He tried to resist this powerful force, but it was all in vain. Do not! As the azure dragon penetrated through the body of Memory Zoro's eyes revealed deep despair and unwillingness. His heart-wrenching roar echoed throughout the vortex of memory, as if it was going to tear the world apart. However, no matter how he struggled, he could not escape his fate. Under the impact of the azure dragon, the figure of Zoro in his memory gradually became blurred, and then completely disappeared into the depths of the vortex of memory, leaving only the heart-breaking roar. Well done, Zoro! Ling Tian, who was standing aside, saw this scene, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, revealing a faint smile, and chuckled softly. He was originally considering whether to do it himself, and was even mentally prepared for a fight, but he didn't expect that Zoro was so powerful that he could solve the problem on his own without him having to do anything. However, what surprised Ling Tian was that after Zoro defeated that Memory Zoro, his level began to decline continuously, as if he had lost some kind of power support. Finally, Zoro's level stabilized at the original level 3.5 and no longer changed. Immediately afterwards, there was a muffled bang and Zoro collapsed to the ground without any warning, as if he had exhausted all his physical strength and energy. Ling Tian was not panicked upon seeing this, but instead thought that this might be the time when Zoro needed to rest. So he decided to let Zoro get some sleep and recover his strength. But at this moment, a huge roar suddenly sounded, boom! The entire memory vortex suddenly vibrated violently. Ling Tian's heart tightened, and looking at the crumbling space around him, he couldn't help but screamed, oh no! He realized in an instant that this was the precursor to the collapse of the memory vortex. Ling Tian grabbed Zoro and rushed through the thick fog like lightning. While moving forward quickly, he looked around vigilantly, hoping to find the entrance as soon as possible. But it is different for Kuina. This place is the vortex in her memory. Even if the space here collapses, it will not be a big deal for her. Finally, through the thick fog, Ling Tian saw from afar a huge vortex slowly spinning in front of him. That was the passage they used to enter this place. However, At this moment, bursts of roaring sounds came from behind them, and the speed of space collapse was getting faster and faster, and it was about to catch up with them. Ling Tian's heart sank and he cursed inwardly. If he continued like this, with his current speed, it would be impossible for him to rush into the vortex before the space completely collapsed. Yufi Shanding, solution. As Ling Tian's low and majestic voice rang out, his body was instantly covered by a layer of dazzling purple light. In the blink of an eye, a set of gorgeous purple armor covered his body. At the same time, a pair of huge wings stretched out from the back of the armor. Yufi Shanding is the seventh seal of lightning. Once this seal is broken, one's speed can be increased by at least 200%. Swish! A sharp sound of breaking through the air was heard, and Ling Tian's figure soared up rapidly like lightning. With such an astonishing speed, in just a few flashes, he had reached the exit of the vortex. Ling Tian held Zoro tightly and rushed into the exit without hesitation. However, just as they rushed into the exit, the entire memory vortex space suddenly began to tremble violently. Countless cracks spread rapidly like spider webs, and the originally solid space barrier became shaky under the impact of this powerful force. Seeing the space collapse becoming more and more serious, but fortunately, Ling Tian he was unsealed at an extremely fast speed. They had already moved away from the danger zone and successfully escaped from the disaster. Aboard the Mary. Suddenly, the blood-sucking blade began to tremble slightly, as if it was touched by a mysterious force. Then, an extremely huge vortex slowly emerged, its scale was jaw-dropping. Hey, everyone look! Blood-sucking seems to be reacting. Nami, who was the first to notice the abnormal situation, shouted anxiously to the Straw Hat Pirates. There was a hint of surprise and nervousness in her voice. Hearing Nami's call, the other members of the Straw Hat Pirates put down what they were doing and walked quickly forward. They stared with wide eyes at the huge vortex that was constantly spinning. Chapter 79 Departure, Destination Alabasta. The members of the Straw Hat Pirates widened their eyes and stared at the huge vortex in front of them. At this moment, a figure in purple armor appeared in the center of the vortex. He held Zoro tightly and came out of the vortex. That was a close call. I almost couldn't come back. Ling Tian, who had just escaped from the vortex, shouted with lingering fear. When he returned to the Mary, he was surprised to find Luffy and others were in fighting stance, staring at him fiercely, as if ready to attack at any time. What's going on with you? Ling Tian asked in confusion. Facing Ling Tian's question, Luffy did not let down his guard. His eyes flashed with determination, his hands were covered with armed color domineering, and he said without flinching, Who are you? Let go of Zoro. After hearing Luffy's words, Ling Tian was suddenly confused. He muttered to himself, could it be that these guys have collectively lost their memory? But soon, he realized the problem, it turned out that he was now wearing purple armor and his voice had changed. No wonder Luffy and the others couldn't recognize him. Thinking of this, Ling Tian quickly explained, It's me, don't get excited. After saying this, he began to remove his armor and restore his original voice. As Ling Tian gradually revealed his true face, the hostility in Luffy and others' eyes gradually dissipated, but they were still full of doubts. Is it really you, Ling Tian? We thought we had encountered an enemy. Nami walked up and looked at Ling Tian carefully, and only breathed a sigh of relief after confirming that it was correct. Of course it's me. Ling Tian smiled and scratched his head. After some explanation, the members of the Straw Hat Pirates finally felt relieved. This misunderstanding also made them curious about the memory vortex, and they all asked Ling Tian what he had experienced in it. Ling Tian told the Straw Hat Pirates about his experience in the vortex of memories. Not long after, Soran woke up from his sleep. He slowly opened his eyes and felt as if he had experienced a long dream, but the specific content was vague. You're awake. Come and eat something to replenish your strength. Sanji keenly noticed that Zoro had woken up and spoke quickly. There were only 2 beds on the Mary, one in Nami's room and the other in the kitchen. Because of this, Sanji was the first person to notice that Zoro had woken up. As soon as Zoro opened his eyes, he couldn't wait to ask about Kuina's condition. I'm fine, how is Kuina now? Sanji comforted Zoro and conveyed to him the news that Ling Tian told them. Ling Tian said that Kuina is currently in a deep sleep due to recovering her memory, and she will wake up soon. Hearing this, the stone in Zoro's heart finally fell to the ground. At this moment, outside the Mary, Usopp stood by the side of the ship, waving his hands and saying goodbye to the 2 giants, Don Lee and Brokey, Master Don Li, Master Brokey, see you next time. Ha ha ha, okay, Usopp. See you next time in Elbaf. Brokey responded with a hearty laugh. The laughter echoed above the sea, gradually drifting away with the anticipation and longing for a future reunion. Usopp was concentrating on driving the Mary, preparing to leave this mysterious little garden. Suddenly, Usopp, who was standing at the helm, screamed in terror, What is that? Ling Tian was attracted by Usopp's scream and quickly turned his head to look in the direction of his finger. Suddenly, a jaw-dropping scene appeared on the distant sea surface. An extremely huge goldfish was swimming slowly towards them. The body of this goldfish is larger than one can imagine, and its scales sparkle with colorful light, as if it were wearing a gorgeous brocade robe. The fish fins danced in the water like huge wings, and every swing created a huge wave. Usopp is the first prophecy to come true. Ling Tian muttered to himself, with an indescribable excitement in his heart. Usopp has always been famous for his absurd lies and fantastic fantasies, but the scene before him at this moment makes people begin to believe that maybe he really has some special ability to foresee the future. At this moment, the giant goldfish seemed to notice the people on the Mary. It stopped swimming, raised its head, and stared at the ship with its huge and smart eyes. Usopp, just go forward boldly. Don Li stood high up in the small garden and shouted loudly to the Mary that was floating on the sea. At the same time, Brokey on the side also waved his arms and shouted at the top of his voice, Leave the rest to us. Don't worry. Usopp stood at the bow, staring at Don Li and Brokey in the distance. Although he was a little nervous, after hearing the two masters' firm words, he decided to trust them. The current Usopp is different from the Usopp in the original work. After 2 years of training, the current Usopp has become a brave sea warrior. Hegemony. Along with the deafening roars of Dong Li and Brokey, an incomparable powerful force suddenly erupted. This force was like a surging torrent, gathering into a dazzling shock wave, rushing towards the goldfish at an astonishing speed. In an instant, the entire space seemed to tremble. Faced with such a horrific attack, the goldfish had no power to fight back and was instantly knocked to the ground by the shock wave. Its huge body rolled in the air, splashing countless water, and the scene was extremely spectacular. The energy contained in this shock wave was extremely huge. It not only knocked the goldfish away, but also had a profound impact on the surrounding environment. The surrounding waves rose dozens of meters high, forming a huge whirlpool that seemed to swallow everything. The air was distorted and deformed by the impact of this powerful force, causing people to feel an indescribable shock. Oh wow! This is amazing! It's so spectacular! Luffy stared with his big round eyes, looking at the scene in front of him with excitement, and kept exclaiming in admiration. Not only Luffy, but also the other members of the Straw Hat Pirates were deeply shocked by the scene before them. They were all stunned, their eyes filled with disbelief. The most excited one among them is Usopp. After all, Don Li and Brokey are both his masters. Yoshi, let's go, destination is Alabasta. Luffy spoke from his special seat. Just when Luffy said to set sail, the blood-sucking blade placed in the kitchen began to tremble slightly. However, because Zoro and Sanji had already gone out, no one saw this scene. Chapter 80 Split Up. When will you wake up? Zoro muttered to himself while holding Bloodthirsty. Although Ling Tian told himself that Kuina would wake up soon, Zoro was still a little worried before Kuina woke up. Suddenly, the blood-sucking blade trembled slightly, and then some blood mist was emitted and condensed into Kuina's body. This time is different from before. The body condensed this time is real flesh and blood, while the previous ones could only be regarded as mimicry at best. Bump! Kuina condensed her body and instantly picked up the blood-sucking sword and inserted it next to Zoro's head, knocking Zoro to the ground. Long time no see, Zoro. Kuina knocked Zoro to the ground and laughed. I seem to have been unconscious for a long time. Kuina said softly. Yes, you have been unconscious for a long time, but you are fine now. Zoro comforted. Although Zoro is now being suppressed by Kuina, the warm-hearted Zoro still comforts Kuina. By the way, could you please get up first? Zoro's face flushed as he looked at Kuina who was pressing him down tightly, and he spoke stutteringly. His heart was beating so hard it seemed like it was going to jump out of his throat. Ahem. Just as Zoro finished speaking, Ling Tian suddenly coughed lightly beside him. Although the cough was not loud, it seemed particularly loud at this moment. Hearing this sudden sound, Kuina's heart tightened and she quickly turned around to look. It would have been fine if she hadn't looked, but once she did she felt so ashamed. It turned out that the other members of the Straw Hat Pirates had come not far away and were staring at her and Zoro intently. In an instant, Kuina's face turned red as if it had been roasted by fire. She hurriedly climbed up from Zoro, feeling a little uneasy. And Zoro was also very embarrassed and blushed. Nami! Nami! What's wrong with you? Wake up! Luffy stared at Nami lying on the bed with an anxious look on his face, his voice revealing an unconcealable nervousness. Not long ago, Nami developed a high fever without any warning and suddenly fainted. Ling Tian stood aside, observing Nami's condition carefully, thinking to himself, it seems that she was indeed infected with some unknown virus in the small garden as described in the original book. Nami's condition is very bad now. We must find a way to treat her as soon as possible. Ling Tian gently stroked Nami's forehead and explained to Luffy and others. Sick? What is that? Luffy's eyes widened, his face full of confusion. He was very confused by this unfamiliar word. Perhaps it is because of the special environment of the pirate world, or perhaps it is because of the peculiar physique of Luffy and his crew, they have never experienced the trouble of illness since they were very young. You don't even know what it means to be sick. He looked at Luffy in surprise and asked in disbelief. Luffy shook his head and honestly stated that he had never been sick before. Real or fake? Wei Wei looked at Luffy who was shaking his head in shock. She really couldn't believe that there were people who had never been sick since childhood. Cough cough. Just as Nami was slightly amazed that Luffy and the others had never been sick, she coughed twice. Nami, are you okay? Wei Wei, who heard the cough, immediately came to Nami and spoke worriedly. Luffy and the others also ran to Nami's side. I'm fine, what time is it now? Nami looked at everyone and spoke. She was a little worried about Wei Wei's country. A few days ago, she learned from the newspaper that the situation in Wei Wei's country was not good, so they had to go to Alabasta as soon as possible. It's already the next morning. Wei Wei spoke up after hearing what Nami said. No, we have to leave quickly. Nami panicked when she heard Wei Wei's words. But your illness hasn't healed yet. Luffy looked at Nami worriedly. I can hold on. Nami forced herself to be brave. No, you have to cure your illness first. Sanji spoke up after hearing what Nami said. Although he is not a doctor, Sanji, who used to be a chef in a restaurant on the sea, knows that if one gets sick in the sea and is not treated in time, the consequences will be disastrous. Look at this. Nami took out a newspaper and handed it to everyone. The newspaper contained the information that Alabasta was in the midst of war. I'm sorry, Wei Wei. I didn't tell you before because I was afraid you would worry too much. After taking out the newspaper, Nami apologized to Wei Wei. Wei Wei's hands trembled a little as she picked up the newspaper Nami took out. She really wanted to return to Alabasta immediately, but Nami's condition did not allow her to do so now. It's okay, Nami. She shook her head slightly. She could understand Nami's approach. But your current physical condition is indeed not suitable for long-distance travel. We can find a place for you to recuperate first, and then set off after you recover. But... Nami wanted to say something but was interrupted by Luffy. Don't worry, Nami. We will definitely find a way to cure you, and I promised Vivi that I would help her save Alabasta. Luffy promised, patting his chest. Well, it's decided then. You take Nami with you to find a doctor. Ling Tian, who was listening to the conversation nearby, spoke at this time. Luffy nodded after hearing Ling Tian's words, and Wei Wei also agreed to let Nami go for treatment first. Although Wei Wei really wants to return to Alabasta now, she knows very well that only the Straw Hat Pirates can save Alabasta now. So now she has to follow the Straw Hat Pirates. What about you? You want to go to Alabasta first? Just when Luffy heard Ling Tian's words and decided to treat Nami first, Zoro and Kuina heard the hidden meaning of Ling Tian's words. After hearing what Zoro and Kuina said, Ling Tian waved his hands helplessly. He originally wanted to leave secretly, but he didn't expect that Zoro and Kuina actually heard the hidden meaning of his words. Really? Wei Wei immediately became excited when she heard Zoro and Kuina say that Ling Tian was going to Alabasta first. As the Princess of Alabasta, Wei Wei naturally does not want anyone from Alabasta to die in the war. Ling Tian, I'm counting on you. Nami also spoke in the same tone. As someone who had once been ruled by Arlong, Nami could empathize with Wei Wei's situation. Give it to me. Ling Tian smiled and said. I'll leave Nami in your care, Ling Tian glanced at Nami and instructed Luffy and the others. Leave it to us X6. The people in the Straw Hat Pirates made this assurance to Ling Tian. After hearing Luffy and the others' assurances, Ling Tian put on the Gale Ring and flew towards Alabasta. End of the chapter. Like and subscribe for more videos like this.